the road to MotoGP.
1, 2, 3.
Fab Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Hello and welcome to the second round of the 2025 MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. You join us at a beautifully sunny Ellough Park in Suffolk, where we are gearing up what is going to be a fantastic weekend's worth of racing. But before we get to the action, let's head to the paddock and hear from a couple of the riders.
This weekend in the Moto team, we have got a friendly competition happening between the South African team and the English team. Joining me now is Malcolm to tell me a little bit more.
Well, I wouldn't call it friendly. It's the Briar Ashes, which is a barbecue for the British people. And it's an inter-competition. It doesn't affect the points whatsoever of the actual championship. But we've chosen this venue because we could get enough South Africans here to compete against we call it the British guys, but it's so we call it the Briar Ashes. It's got that little trophy over there. And so it's the top 4 riders, or the top 4 scoring riders for South Africa, and 1 international rider, and then the same thing for the British team. And it'll be over the 3 races. We accumulate the points, and the one that gets the most points win.
Looking forward to watching it over the weekend.
Great.
Joining us now is the number 11, Oscar McAllister. Oscar, great to see you once again as we're heading into the second round of the season. How's things feeling heading into Ellough Park?
It's feeling amazing.
Confidence, I see. No words needed, just going in cool, calm and collected. Is that the aim for the weekend? Just keep confident?
Yeah, just try and keep confidence, build up it, and try and get faster each session.
Talk to us a little bit about the track. It's quite tough round here. It's been known to catch riders out before, but I think it's a circuit that everyone really, really enjoys. Is it one that you're a fan of?
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's a good track and just a couple hard chicanes and corners. But by the end of the weekend, I'm just hoping to master it.
Of course, you mentioned a couple of hard chicanes. You've got that really slow section coming into the top and that hairpin chicane awkward bit. But on the flip side, it's a great opportunity to make some last-minute moves, make some dive bombs. We're going to be seeing you make any of those?
Yeah, I've already made a couple, but I'm hoping if I can do that in the race and get further where I qualified, that would make me really happy.
Well, let's wait and see. Thanks so much for talking to us, Oscar.
Thank you. Bye.
Now joining us is one of our MetroKit Mini GP 50R riders, Josh Perkins, joining us. Great to have you here with us once again at Ellough Park. Getting the action shot, getting everything unloaded out the back of the van as we're heading into the weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good. I got a good position in practice, and that's actually with the 50Rs as well in there, so I'm feeling quite good.
That is great to hear. Ellough Park, a track you're clearly enjoying then so far?
Yeah, I enjoy Ellough Park. My favourite track so far is Three Sisters, because it's a fast track and it flows really good.
I mean, I think everyone loves Three Sisters, especially me, because it's about half an hour from my house, which is quite nice. Interestingly enough, obviously, Ellough Park, last year we came here twice, so a lot of riders here, lots of experience behind the handlebars. You know, they were just going round and round and round again. It's a local track, a home track to a lot of the riders as well. Is that something you think has an effect on the racing?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't here last year for the last Ellough Park because I broke my collarbone at Rowra in the Mini Motos, so I really couldn't get enough practice into the Mini GP 50s.
But still, you're coming here in 2025 and seem quite confident, so you haven't lost out too much.
Well, it's a fast bike, especially the 50R. On the 50R, it pulls away on the straights much faster.
And what is the difference between the 50 and the 50R for anyone at home who maybe doesn't know?
I'm not quite sure, to be fair. That's my dad back.
Well, I can tell you, you're allowed a bigger carb on it. That's all I know, and it's also open to a Varley's.
Yeah, I know it's got a bigger carb, but I don't know what else, affects it, to be fair.
I think that's about it. Well, Josh, thank you very much for talking to us. We'll see you out on track this weekend.
Bye.
Harrison Quincy's joining me now in the Pit Bike 140 series. How are you feeling this weekend, Harrison?
A lot of
excited. Hopefully I do well, but yeah.
And we are at Ellough Park. Is this a track you think favours you, or do you think you might struggle a little bit here?
It is one of my favourites, and I'm doing quite well so far. I just hope I keep doing well.
How's it felt so far in practice and qualifying? Do you feel like you're getting the most out of the bike?
Yeah, bike's feeling good. I'm getting up there at the minute, so just try and keep it.
And how are you feeling after last weekend at Lyd?
Last week, yeah, it was really good. Good weekend, yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck this weekend. Henry, going into this weekend at Ellough Park, how are we feeling after Lyd?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite well. We went to Lyd just expecting to watch, and someone called Ellough Moto actually, reached out to me, said, "Do you want to ride the bike?" I was like, why not? I didn't have any leathers, and then Charlie Nesbitt said, "I've got some leathers here, I got some boots." So I ended up putting together all people's gloves and boots and that. I ended up riding. I can't remember where I finished. I just went out and rode, really, if I'm being honest with you. But here, I'm doing quite well. Went out Friday. I haven't rid these type of bikes since November, because last year I raced them fully, and then this year I haven't raced them at all since up to now. But yeah, it's going quite well. Wilson is about a second quicker than anyone. My teammate is really fast, but hopefully I can try and give it to him in the race.
And how are you finding the bikes feeling for you yourself? Like, are you feeling you're getting back into the groove of things after having a break since November?
Yeah. So the first time we come here, obviously, I felt massive on the bike. I've been riding bigger bikes, but I got on this, I felt huge. There was a few things wrong with it. We had to tweak the suspension and stuff like that, but we've got the setup now and we feel quite good, yeah.
And what are you hoping to gain out of this weekend? Where are you hoping to place?
Obviously, everyone wants to get first. I think I can get first, but I'm just coming here for a bit of fun, have a laugh, but hopefully I can win, yeah.
Brilliant. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Kickstarting his 2025 campaign a little bit later than most, Max Johnson joins us for his first round of the 2025 MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. Great to have you back with us, Max, and great to see you moving up and onto the Metric kits now as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, it's Saturday, it's qualifying time. It's nice to see someone in some nice faces again and ready for this weekend, yeah.
That is great to hear, and as you said, qualifying time coming up. How are you feeling on the bike?
Well, maybe for a top 10, because it's my first qualifying of the Fab Racing season, so let's just have fun, really, yeah.
And as you said, obviously you missed out the first round, unfortunately. Those things do happen. Do you think that's going to be a massive disadvantage, or is it just going to be something you're dealing with? You've already said off camera that this year is just going to be a year of having fun and a learning year on the bike, so you're not too fussy if you're maybe a little bit behind compared to everyone else?
Well, this year I'm just aiming to enjoy it, have fun, learn lots of stuff, because there's so much to learn, such as your clutch, your gears, so much to learn on the Metric kit, and just have fun, and that's all racing's about, really.
I mean, if you're not having fun, what's the point of turning up? And we know you do like to have your fun. So what is the plan for this week? And then just get consistent top 10s, get in the top 10 with qualifying as well. And as you said, have some fun.
Yeah, have fun, just enjoy it, and just improve every session, and just getting that top 10, getting the fighting mix, really.
Well, we hope it's as fun for us to watch as it is for you out on track. Thanks for talking to us. We'll catch you later.
Thank you. And for this year, my friend Owen Jenner sadly passed away, so no matter what I do, I'm going to make him proud this year. Thank you.
The 71 of Bradley Curtis. A little bit of a drama before we get ready to go out today. You can see your chief mechanic, so to speak, in the background, also known as your dad, ripping your gearbox to shreds currently. What's going on there?
Yeah, just the gears aren't engaging and that. It's like just not really working for us. So there's our 50 bike. Hopefully we can get out on that. We're just going to swap the carbs over from the 50 out of the 50. So we can get out on both. So, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed everything gets sorted and everything runs smoothly this weekend. More importantly, though, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit nervous because I've not got as much points as some people, because obviously I only finished 1 of 6, so I've not got that much points, but I'm feeling good and happy, so I'm just going to try my best and go out.
I like that champion's mindset. You're already thinking about points. We're only one round down. So you're lining yourself up to be launching a title charge later in the season.
Yeah, I'm just going to try my best. If I don't get top 3, I don't get top 3, but I'm obviously going to try to get top 3, so yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Ellough Park heading into this weekend, of course. Last time out, maybe not the most fun you've ever had, but this time, you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good because it's like my favourite track, but it's changed a bit. Like, they've put some more tarmac in, like, it's not as bumpy, but then the patches that they've put in is a bit bumpier. But I'm good on the brakes and some corners, so I'm just going to try and do that. So, yeah.
It's just kind of dazzle everyone with your amazing pace and amazing braking skills and win all the races and go home a happy boy. Is that the plan?
I try my best. I just want to have fun, so, yeah.
That's the main thing. Thanks very much for talking to us, Brad.
Thanks. Bye.
Metal filings or something on the inside which is causing a lot up, so just split it, have a good look at it and see what's going on, try and get it back together. I don't think it'll make qualifier on this bike, but certainly try and get him up for race 1.
Seth Bomber Haywood on the number 15, looking forward to the second round of the 2025 season here at Fab Racing. Seth, how's things?
Good so far. It's just my year back from my leg injury last year, but I'm getting back into it so far.
That's great to hear. And let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, I know it's quite hard coming back from injury and, long road to recovery. First of all, it is, great to see you back. I don't think we quite spoke to you last time out, unfortunately, but how's things going with the leg? All feeling okay?
It's feeling okay. I've still got metal rods in it. I'm keep going. Nothing stops me, though.
That is great to hear. And one last question on it quickly. Do you think it does affect you on the bike a little bit, or is it something that you've got over?
No, it clicks a bit, but it doesn't really do it. It doesn't hurt.
That is great to hear. Coming into the second round then of the season, Ellough Park, track you enjoy?
It's a track that I really enjoy. The first track I don't really like.
Ooh, no love lost there then for the lid kart racing circuit, but Ellough Park, clearly a firm favourite, not just you for the Paddock as well. What's the plan then this weekend? Of course, I'm expecting sweep the weekend, win every race, etc.
Top 10, top 5, and do as best as I can.
Brilliant stuff. And then looking forward across the rest of the season as well, is it just about getting those consistent points finishes?
This year I want to be in the top 5 or top 10 this year in the championship, and I'm hoping to be in top 5, hopefully.
Well, hopefully you can achieve that goal. Thanks for talking to us, Seth.
Bye.
Now speaking to, bizarrely enough, another rider who had a leg injury last year. Seemingly everyone at the moment struggling those ones. Riley Paisley, great to have you back with us. Second overall last time out at Lid, so strong start to the season. How are you feeling moving on to round number 2?
Yeah, quite confident as I'm doing both bikes this round, so more track time and then hopefully more podiums this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about that. Both bikes you mentioned, obviously we're quite used to seeing you on the Metro kits and all that, but what's the deal? What's happening this weekend with both bikes?
Lid, it got a bit too much for me doing the 50s and then straight out on the 70 after, but now I've got a gap between them so I can do both.
So a little bit of time to rest and relaxing, at the same time get more track time as well to help you improve and get quicker. That is great to see. How are you finding things out there in Ellough Park? How are both of the bikes feeling?
Both bikes are good. Yesterday I struggled a bit for pace, but hopefully today I'll be on it.
Well, fingers crossed, we'll have to wait and see. Again, as we said earlier, really strong opening round at Lid. You were second overall at the end of the weekend. Are you looking to just continue that consistency? Of course, you'll be aiming for race win, obviously, but just looking to keep consistent and keep moving forward?
Yeah, just 3 podiums this weekend and I'll be happy.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for talking to us, Riley.
Thank you.
Jensen Brown back with us for another weekend of racing. You got second at Lid, the first round of the season. How are you feeling?
Good.
Are you excited coming into Ellough this weekend?
Yeah.
You've just been out on the track for your practice. How were you feeling after practice?
Good.
Excited for racing this weekend?
Yeah.
Are you hoping to get second or higher again?
Higher.
Hiya, you want to be first, yeah? Good luck this weekend, mate.
Thank you.
Jensen, back with us here at Ellough Park for round 2 of Fab Racing. How are you feeling this weekend?
Good.
And how are you feeling after Lid?
Not too well.
Why? What happened?
Because I fell off 2 times.
Oh. You all right now, though? All recovered? All ready to go this weekend?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being at Ellough? It's quite a twisty track. Talk me through it. How do you think it's going to go this weekend?
Good. I don't know. But
do you think it's a circuit you're going to do well at?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's like a twisty track and I'm good at them.
So you find it better in the turns than on the straights?
Yeah.
And where are you hoping to place this weekend?
First.
Good luck. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nelly News back with us again here at Fab Racing. A brilliant weekend for you at the first round in Lid. How are you feeling?
Amazing.
Was it good winning last round?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being here at Ellough Park?
Good.
How do you find the track's been for you? Because it's quite a twisty track. Are you finding it suiting you okay?
Kind of.
You've been out for practice yet?
Yeah.
How did you feel it was in practice? Did you find it was going okay?
Yeah.
And how are you hoping to do this weekend?
Good.
Wanting to win?
Yeah.
And what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Winning.
Got a winner's attitude. Good on you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Jamie King, at your home circuit this weekend here at Ellough Park. How are you feeling this weekend?
You're probably going to come on to it in a bit, but not feeling too great today. We had a little off yesterday, or quite a big off. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get through today, but it's going to be a bit difficult, I think. But we'll grin and bear it and see how we get on. But I went quicker yesterday than I've ever gone round here, and I do come here on the regular. So, fingers crossed, we can get back up to speed today.
How are you feeling after your crash? Feeling a little bit sore, a little bit stiff?
Yeah, a little bit sore, definitely. I landed on my back quite nasty. I didn't even think it was possible to high-side a pit bike that bad. They're not the quickest things in the world. And, yeah, I came down pretty heavy on my back. I'm quite used to having big crashes here at Ellough. I do normally push the limit a bit too much. And, yeah, unfortunately, I did it again yesterday. But I'm going to go out there, grit my teeth, and we'll be trying to fight for the front as usual.
And this weekend in the Extreme E, you were partnered with LRA Moto. How are you feeling working with them this weekend?
Yeah, mega. Total different style of bike. I've never ridden a GP mini bike before. And, yeah, really looking forward to it. This bike is brand new. It's never turned a wheel, and it's the first time for me and Chris have ridden it. So it is all about just getting the bike set up, and we're not going to be looking for results or anything like that. It's just purely trying to get the bike set up, and hopefully we can move closer to the front in the future. But in the extreme class, there's some extremely fast people in it, so you're probably not going to see us at the front this weekend, but hopefully we can work our way up to the front in the future with some better parts on the bike and that.
Yeah, you had a good weekend at the first round at Lid Circuit a couple of weeks ago. How were you feeling after that, coming into this weekend?
Yeah, especially after that last race at Lid with Chris, getting Chris on the last corner to take the win. I think I've watched that clip about 1 million times from you guys, so yeah, it was really good. Yesterday in the times before the incident, between me, Richard Holmes-Williams and Chris, there was nothing in it again. It was so close, so if I can go with them guys with how sore I'm feeling, then I think it's going to be some close racing again.
Well, good luck this weekend, Jamie, and hope you recover okay.
Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.
Cooper I've heard you've just placed first in qualifying for the rookies. How are you feeling?
Good, but just my first time coming first in the rookies. So I'm feeling quite good and excited.
And we are here at Ellough Park. How are you finding the track is suiting you? Is it a good one, or are you struggling a little bit, finding it really well?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's so much fun, and luckily it's a nice day out, so yeah.
Hoping the weather stays this weekend then, so you can keep going and hopefully win some races this weekend?
Yes. Yeah, I hope it stays sunny.
And what is it you like about Ellough Park, the track, so much?
I'd probably say, like, just that it's loads of straights and got fun corners, and just you can get a lot of top speeds on the track, which is my favourite, so yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck this weekend, mate. Have fun, and well done for getting first in qualifying.
Thank you. You too.
Some more mechanical issues across the paddock already this weekend. One of those involved, unfortunately, is Harrison Day, but sounds like you've got it all fixed now, fingers crossed. So apart from that, everything good?
Yeah, so yesterday went pretty well. It was quite busy in the practice, and I matched my time from last year, and last year I qualified pole, so it was pretty good.
So already feeling confident on the bike then, clearly. You going for pole again, I'm assuming?
We're going to try, so we've got qualifying soon, so hopefully we don't have what happened yesterday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully everything runs okay for the rest of the weekend. Second round of the season, so, I mean, it already feels weird to say that we're already technically quite a bit of the way through. It's only a short year, but, you know, we're already at the middle of the year as well. It's almost July we're heading into now, or June, should I say. You know, getting warmer. Is that going to affect you out on track?
To be fair, when you're riding, like, you don't really notice because you're riding around adrenaline and stuff, and then especially like when you're hurt sometimes as well, you don't really feel it because adrenaline takes over. So yes, you don't really feel anything.
Oh, that's fair enough. Well, hopefully you manage to keep you cool. And what's the game plan for this weekend then? Just, 3 wins, do you think? Go home happy?
Well, yeah, try to get 3 wins. Try to do well in extremes because just try not to get too involved in extremes and try just keep my head on 70s and just use extremes for track time.
Smart riding, I like that. Well, thanks, Harrison. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Another late start to 2025 for one of our riders, but good to have you back, Finley Powell. I know you're just about to head out, so we'll keep it nice and quick. How are you feeling, though?
Great, loving the tracks, lovely and grippy. Just got back from Spain at Aragon with my team BRP, which has been great fun.
Yeah, obviously racing with the European competition. How does that compared to some of the British big boys?
Well, I have to say the tracks are a lot smaller, but because of the smaller tracks, it gives, a lot tighter racing sometimes.
Yeah, makes it a bit more exciting. But to be fair, this weekend weather's seemingly pretty similar to Spain as well, so at least you're used to that, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been lovely weather this weekend. Nice and hot. It's been like 20 degrees or something, so it's been good.
And what's the plan going out on the track then? Load of race wins, some good performances, or are you just out there to have some fun and get some track time?
Well, out there to get some track time, but it would be nice to have a win or two.
Well, where to see. Thanks a lot, Finley. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Daisy Poldham with us, who was top 10 at Lid. How are we feeling this weekend?
I feel confident this weekend. This is one of my favourite tracks that I go to.
Why is it one of your favourite tracks? Tell me a little bit more.
Because it's really fast. It's just flowy around the corners, and yeah.
How's practice been going so far? You feeling good? Feeling confident?
Yeah, I felt really confident yesterday. I got my personal best time, which I think was a 53.90, and yeah, I felt really confident.
And how are you hoping to do today in quali and the first race?
I'm hoping to improve my times in qualifying, and I just want to try and aim to get top 10 in my race.
Good luck this weekend. Have a load of fun.
Thank you.
One of of our new rookies again this year. Joining us now is Savannah Pen. Savannah, how are you feeling this weekend?
Good, thank you.
You've just had qualifying. How do you feel it went? Do you feel it went well?
Yeah.
How come? You qualified 8th, didn't you?
Yeah.
And what is your favourite part of the track here at Ellough Park?
Probably the straights.
How's that? Is that because you can get really fast on them?
Yeah.
And what are you hoping to achieve this weekend?
I'm not really sure.
Just want to get in top 10?
Yeah.
Well, good luck this weekend and have lots of fun.
Thank you.
Here at Ellough Park, about to go out for qualifying is Preston. How are we feeling this weekend, Preston?
Good. Very, yeah.
How are you finding the track being for you here at Ellough Park? Is it one you're enjoying?
Yeah, I find it very good, yeah.
And how is it comparing to our first one that we had a few weeks ago for the season opener at Lyd?
A lot better, yeah. I've done a lot better than Lyd, and hopefully I can do better than Lyd, yeah.
And how's it been in practice? Like, have you found there's a certain part on the circuit that's suiting you a little bit more, that you find you can pull a bit more from the bike?
Yeah, I've found a lot of corners that I can pull for a little bit from the bike, yeah.
And how have your times been so far in practice? Better?
The best time that I've done is a 53, and I'm happy with that.
And how is the bike feeling for you this weekend? Feeling good?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Joining us now in the awning right next to the track is Tommy Keats. Tommy, great to have you back with us. A little bit noisy down here and the temperature definitely getting up as the day goes on, but how are you feeling? Spirits high?
Yeah, I'm feeling very confident after yesterday. I was second in my class throughout the whole day except for the last session. So yeah, I'm feeling very confident going into this weekend.
That is great to hear. How's the bike feeling?
Yeah, it's feeling really well. Good. And yeah, can't wait to get into this weekend.
What are you expecting to be this weekend? Whereabouts are you expecting to finish?
Well, I'm expecting at least top 5, but I'm hoping for a podium.
No, that'd be great to see.
And maybe a win.
That would be great to see. Of course, only the second round of the season, still early doors in the year, but, you know, already it's getting to the middle of the year, we're starting to get through it. Such is the Fab Racing year, it's quite short. So what's your objective for this year?
Just to try and have fun, and yeah, top 5 in the championship, and yeah, that's all I hope for.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Best of luck, Tommy Keats. Thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Now, this may not be a familiar face to many people at home, but without him, things here in the Fab Racing paddock would be very, very different and very, very difficult. Ian Harris, delighted to be speaking to you. How are you feeling?
Morning, guys. Better than yesterday. Very busy day yesterday, so it was non-stop for about 13 hours, so it's a little bit more chilled this morning. Everyone's done their tyre changing and restrictor sealing and all those jobs that get done on a Friday.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you do here in the paddock, and again, what's on the table, what kind of services you offer?
All right, so my little special table of display, 17-inch tyres for the Moto team bikes, so there's a few people that aren't aware we carry those on the van. Chest protectors for the kids as well, so just another little thing out. Popular stuff, 2-stroke oil and gearbox oil for the mini GP bikes and the mini motos. We've got brake cleaner, which everybody uses brake cleaner all the time just to get it all cleaned up. Then we have our knee sliders, bestseller. Got to have knee sliders. The kids love knee sliders. So we've got the Whiz patterned ones and the new Race Shop ones, which you may have seen at BSB with quite a few of the Race Shop knee sliders by many of the support class riders. And handlebar grips. Everybody likes fresh handlebar grips, so they get a bit scuffed up in a few crashes, so replacement to them. And some new in shiny parts for the Blatter bikes there, so lightweight alloy forks, a billet clutch bell carrier, and a very, very sexy floating front brake disc.
I think it's pretty safe to say that if you weren't here, the entire paddock would fall apart and no one would be able to do anything, basically.
Oh, I don't want to take that much credit. It's amazing how you can get by when the service is not there, but when the service is there, you rely on it massively. So the tyre changing, 10 to 8 yesterday morning, they were queuing for tyres to get changed, which, if you've got to do that on your hands and knees, that's hard work.
I mean, I think it just goes to show how appreciated you are around here and how much your efforts, you help absolutely everyone here in the paddock, and it really is great to say. So thank you very much, Ian. An absolute pleasure, and again, thank you for all of your services.
You're very welcome, guys. We'll see you about soon.
Now joining us, some very special guests, a trio of very popular faces in the paddock, I think it's safe to say. We've got Gary Harrison and Ben O'Keefe. Boys, pleasure to have you here. We'll start from the left and just move along, but how are we all doing?
We're doing very well, thank you very much.
That is great to hear, and looking forward to the weekend?
Yes.
There was a cautious yes, that. Is there something going on that we need to know about, or is it just, maybe not that confident on the bike or something?
We're getting a bit of grief from the South Africans. And, yeah, that's all I can say on the subject.
No, we've heard about this war that's kicked off. We know that the South African camp is just over there, so you're near to enemy territory. What's the game plan for taking them down?
I'm going to hang around at the back, slow them all down, let the two lads here overtake, take the glory. That is the plan.
That sounds like a great plan. We'll move a little bit on down the line. Now you've got a big task this weekend. You've got to finish the race and not crash out in the last corner, I think is the plan.
Yeah, I've been concentrating on that last corner. Still got a bit of PTSD from last year, but yeah, we're staying on the bike so far.
I mean, that's great. Obviously, when it's an actual racing situation, we saw, all the plans will go out the window as they always do, and it could be tough getting around there. It's a very gentle right-hand kink. It's really difficult. But moving on from that, how's things on the bike?
Yeah, feeling good so far. Just trying to get back to where I was last year, but on the bike, and hopefully I can play somewhere decent.
And again, are you going to be trying to beat the South Africans as well, I'm assuming?
I'm trying to beat everyone. But we'll see what happens. As we say, it all changes in the race, and there's no tactic or play that will stay the same from start to finish, so we'll see.
Absolutely. And finally, let's get down to the end of the line. How are we feeling?
I'm really good, yeah, really good.
That's great to hear. What's your plan this weekend? Get out, ride a bike, go fast?
Yes, my plan mainly is I'm not bothered about the South Africans. I'm more bothered about beating Harry and Gary. I'm not bothered about the South Africans because their team leader, Malcolm Stratton, he's not in South African. He's from Cwmbran. So he's Welsh. Yeah, I tell you. So he's racing for South Africa. He's Welsh. That's just wrong. Wrong.
Yeah, I mean, my geography's not great, but as far as I'm aware, Wales isn't near South Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so yeah, how's that worked out then that they've managed to get a Welshman racing for them?
Just cheating South Africans, innit? It's what they do. But we're bigger than that. We're not going to let it bother us. We're not going to let it affect us. We're just going to go out there, do what we do, and then afterwards sing some Welsh hymns or something just to wind them up.
That sounds brilliant. Well, boys, thanks so much for speaking to us. Best of luck this weekend. Can't wait to see you out on track.
Thanks, Steve. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
And now the man who is self-proclaimed as the oldest in the Fab Racing paddock joining us is Mark Payne from the Senior Mini Moto. It's great to have you here with us once again. How are you feeling looking into the weekend?
A bit hesitant yesterday, but today, bike's running really, really well. I'm feeling good. I think I've got a chance of being somewhere today. Maybe in the top 5, top 6.
Well, we'll look forward to it. Wait and see what you can do out on track. You said you're turning 59 just off camera earlier today, but you're still out there, still hungry. Age clearly not affecting you yet then?
Not at the moment when I'm riding well and the bike's running well. There's no stopping me. I'm coming for Matt Birkin.
Well, I hope so too, because it's going to get boring if he just carries on winning everything.
Yeah, I'm just going to knock him on
Yeah, I mean, if you want to knock him off, be my guest. I'm not a steward, so I won't tell you what's going to happen to you afterwards. What is the game plan for this weekend, though? You said it's running well. You're looking for top fives. Is it just kind of consistent points, or are you going to be pushing for podiums, maybe?
This track, because there isn't so much long straights, I don't lose out on my weight so much. So, like, I'm sort of 13, just over 13 stone. Three Sisters, I'll lose a lot out on the back straight. Here, it's quite tight and twisty, so I don't think I'll lose out so much. So I can't be competitive here. So I'm really looking forward to it at the minute.
Well, so are we. Mark, thank you so much for talking to us.
It's okay, anytime.
British Talent Cup Championship leader Philip Strobiak, pleasure to have you back with us at Fab Racing once again. And this time, you're racing as well, got your leathers on.
Yeah, really big thank you to Craig Polden. He's letting me borrow his Ovale just for a bit of fun. I only found out what it really was yesterday, but yeah, just here to have some fun, relax a little, and, you know, nice weather, spend some nice relaxing time with friends.
That is great to hear. I know you're out in a short moment, so we won't keep you for too long, but let's just talk about your most recent round of the R&G British Talent Cup. Silverstone, obviously, pole position, race 1 win as well. Kept the championship lead. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, overall it was a good weekend. Qualified pole position, happy with that in the wet. Then race 1 was really windy, but came away with the win. And then race 2 crashed out of second on the final lap, final sector in the wet. But I can't really be upset because it was a good weekend nevertheless, and it's always mega with MotoGP. So now there's a bit of a break to Snetterton, and hopefully we can all just chill out a bit. You know, back-to-back weekends was quite busy anyway, and with my exams I missed FP1 at Silverstone. But yeah, now just chill out a bit and reset for Snet.
Yeah, but obviously a little bit of a break, now a chance for a breather, but still, you know, racing in front of a Grand Prix crowd, that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a great experience at Silverstone.
Well, Philip, thanks for talking to us, and best of luck this weekend. I'm sure you'll be taking it maybe a little bit easier than you normally do. Don't want to hurt yourself or anything. Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll see you out on track.
Yeah, thank you.
Bit of Fab Racing royalty joining us now, Marco Holt. What an absolute privilege to have you back with us here at Ellough Park. How you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, really excited to be back. Yeah, just give it what we got and do what we can, you know.
Absolutely. What have you been doing then since you've been away? Where you been? How you been riding?
Yeah, so I've been in the ASPK Talent and also the Mere Racing Promo 3 Championship. But yeah, that's all I've done since I've been away. Yeah.
How are you running in those? I'm assuming you're still winning loads of races as well?
No, to be honest, I'm struggling quite a bit. Well, I say I'm struggling. In the promo, I'm there. We just had some problems with the chattering. And then in the SPK, we had a couple of problems. But yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that, but I'm sure you're working on it. And again, it is great to have you back here as well. I'm sure you're looking to pick up where you left off at Fab Racing, straight back to winning ways.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
We'll have to wait to see. Marco, it's great to have you back in the paddock. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Following on from a strong start in the first round of this season at Lid, joining us now is Freddy Taylor. How are you feeling today, Freddy?
Good, hoping to get top 3 in qualifying.
And how are you finding riding at Ellough Park? Is it one that suits you pretty well?
Yeah, it's my favourite track. I love like the flowy corners and like it's just a fast track really.
And how has practice been for you so far over the weekend?
Good. Top 5 pretty much every session. So good.
And have you got a part of the track which is your favourite to ride round?
Probably like when you go like flat out and then you like go into the long left and you keep it flat, that one.
Yeah, and what are you hoping to achieve by the end of the weekend?
Hopefully a couple trophies, couple medals, and yeah, top 3.
Good luck this weekend, Freddie. Hope you do well.
Thanks.
Super Sebastian Gazlowski. First time we've spoken to you this year, I believe, and it's great to have your face back in the Fab Racing paddock. How are you feeling? Looking forward to the second round of the season?
Yeah, good. Just trying to follow on from Lid.
And it was a pretty solid weekend for you at Lid, wasn't it? Run us through what happened there.
So I rode in the 50R and the 50cc Metricates, and won 6 races, and I'm really proud. So was my team.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly a weekend to remember. You had an almighty run of things. How's the bikes running this weekend? Are we looking at another 6-race sweep, or do you reckon there might be a bit more competition this time round?
More competition this round because there's more on the grid. So, yeah.
And run us through Ellough Park. Is it a track you like, or is it one maybe you struggle a little bit at?
Ellough Park's a fast-flowing circuit, so I really like it.
That's great to hear. And then looking across the rest of the season as well, are you just kind of aiming for race wins, or already setting yourself up for a championship battle maybe?
Yeah.
I like that confidence. Well, Seb, best of luck this weekend. Thanks very much for talking to us, and can't wait to see you out on track.
Thank you.
On the road to MotoGP and the feeder series to the British Talent Cup and Red Bull Rookies, this is Fab Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Welcome to Sunday's action here at Ellough Park, the second round of the MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. After a great day of racing yesterday, we've got all of our race 2s and race 3s to look forward to all across the morning and the rest of the afternoon. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, and alongside me in the commentary box, our returning face, Zach Sweeney. Welcome back to Fab Racing. It's good to have you along for the ride.
It's good to be back. You couldn't get rid of me for very long. All of one round and I'm back. Yes, really looking forward to this. Of course, we got a lot of racing, different to 2024 though, some new classes, but I love Ellough Park. Really good to be back. 2 rounds, of course, here in 2024, 2 of the best rounds of the season, might I say. Obviously, some changeable weather over the course of last year, and, of course, the all-important championship finale to end off what was a fantastic season of Fab Racing in 2024. So, bring it on.
Absolutely. Yep, only the 1 round this year at Ellough Park, but of all the race ones we had yesterday, some absolute brilliant racing on display, and we're expecting to see more of the same. Don't worry, you've not missed any of the action. The checkered flag has just come out in the final warm-up session of the morning. That is the MK Mini GP50R class, the new class of this year, which also allows you to race your Avali 140s or 160s if you do have them. We'll be getting going with the opening race 2. That is the Fab Racing Rookies Cup coming up in just a short moments time, but really looking forward to the weekend. And as you said, Zach, Ellough Park, what a circuit, always great racing. We saw some of that yesterday, expecting more of the same today.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those circuits that, again, it's just got a bit of everything, right? You've got heavy braking zones and sort of contrast to Lid, you have got those, right? Lid, very fast, very flowing, few chicanes, that sort of thing. Ellough Park, you've obviously got the Paddock hairpin, you've got the undulating chicane at the back end of the circuit, but that first sector, a lot of sweeping corners where you really have to lean in with the bike and sort of commit with the bravery. So it's one of those circuits where it very much is a rider circuit, right? It rewards bravery, it rewards commitment, and it also has a very abundant amount of overtaking opportunities. So we're in for some really good racing today.
Absolutely beloved by the riders, this one. Some of them have been struggling a little bit so far this weekend. A few weird crashes here and there. Everyone is okay for the main part. A couple of mechanical issues as well. Hopefully they've all been sorted heading into Sunday's action. Bradley Curtis, the 71, he's been the main kind of man having the problems there. Lots of issues with his gearbox so far. Hopefully things are all sorted. Just before we get racing, just a quick note, slight change of format too today. There is no sighting lap going into this one, so the riders will be heading straight from the dummy grid onto the main grid, and then it'll be sit there, wait for the red lights, and we're going away straight away. So will just mean that we possibly run through the schedule a little bit quicker than normal. Wind definitely picking up compared to yesterday as well. A little bit cooler, a bit more cloud cover. We saw yesterday a few riders struggling a bit. It was quite warm. We were looking at 21, 22 degrees. So maybe cooler conditions. We'll be seeing some faster lap times, possibly better racing as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, when it gets too hot, you put too much strain through the tyres, they start to overheat, they start to scrub. Not usually a problem we have in England, let alone in Suffolk. But yeah, no, the wind definitely picking up, and interestingly as well, and you'll see it with the flags dotted around, it's going to open up the door for some really good overtaking opportunities down into the hairpin as we get ready for the first race of the day.
Race number 2 of the Fab Racing Rookies Cup coming up first, brought to you, of course, by Grassroots 2 Grand Prix. And it's been a very interesting season and a very interesting weekend so far for these young riders, as young as 6 years old. Many of them, their first time this weekend racing out there on the track on a Mini Moto machine. Austin Baton has been the man to beat so far in 2025, but lots of riders with a lot of potential and a lot of promise, and really pushing as well. The likes of Cooper Say, Zach Athisic as well, also looking very racy. But the important important thing, Zach, of course, in the Fab Racing Rookies Cup, it's, as I said, this time, it's many of their riders, it will be their first or their second race weekend. It's all about just gaining track time, gaining experience on the bike, and developing your racing skills at a young age.
Yeah, and track time is invaluable, right? And that's the thing with real life racing, is that you don't get a lot of it. So what you do get, you need to make the most of it. I mean, they get 8 minutes of track time every hour and 20 minutes. So they're not, on track for a lot of time. And especially when you're first starting out and you're starting to get the feel of things, how to get your knee down, how to accelerate properly, where the braking points are. That's what these young riders are really going to need to capitalise on. That being said, historically, the Rookies Cup has actually showcased a vast plethora of maturity for riders that are even really, really young. Last year we saw one of the best championships of the entire Fab Racing Championship between Nelly Nuth and of course Emilio Pereira, who have made the step up into their respective classes. The Inters of course for Nuth and of course the 50s for Pereira. So even though they are young and they are new to racing as such, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be lacking any form of championship fight.
Absolutely no, it is always very, very tough in the Rookies Cup in terms of championship. It always surprises, just again, as you said, they're so mature and they get out there and they really leave it all on the racetrack, even with many of them a lack of experience. Yes, some of them may have been on bikes for longer than others, but either way, they're just showcasing their talent, showcasing what they can do, even on the very first step of their bike racing careers. We're just waiting to head out onto the grid now, and indeed, here we go. So let's run through the grid for you. It is Austin Baton that starts on pole position, Cooper Say alongside with Zach Athertich in P3, Casey Rees in P4, row 3, Caden Bailey and Oliver Cheeseman, with Jensen Brown in 7th and Chase Carter in 8th, Theo Tyler and Oakley Hipwell rounding out the top 10. Savannah Polden starts 11th alongside Keely Bailey, Liam Hayland is 13th with Oscar Bond in P14, Arlo Simmons is 15th with Ayrton Oakley in 16th, and Izzy Cook is our 17th and final rider on the grid. A really interesting race one. Austin Baton, it did take the victory overall, but a lot of traffic causing chaos, Zach, only winning by 1.5 tenths at the line. This has the opportunity to be another close one.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, like you say, with such an abundant grid of very varying skill levels, a lot of these riders have been doing it for a year. Like I say, a lot of them have only done 1 or 2 race weekends. So very big sort of skill gap between a lot of them. And of course, it adds that extra element of traffic management that those at the front really are going to have to manage. A good start though, paramount, a slightly long run towards turn 1, where a braking zone is going to be paramount in order to get that lead. Of course, we're about to get ready for the first race of the day here on Sunday, the Rookies. Here we go.
Should be really interesting. Cooper Say will have the inside line down to turn 1, but it is Austin Baton on the right-hand side of your picture that starts from pole, as it is all eyes to the red lights to kickstart Sunday's action. It is lights out and we are underway. Great start there from the pole sitter, but everyone looks away cleanly as well. Down into turn 1 will be Austin Baton on the 100. That leads from Say. Zach Athertich holding on to 3rd place as well. A few squabbles already starting to form. Look at the gap already that Austin Baton has built out. What a flying start for that young rider. A dream start, in fact, and he'll be looking to try and build that gap across the next few laps.
Yeah, indeed so. And of course, just trying to build on that over the course of the next couple of laps through the hairpin for the first time, and one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit, but no major moves being made on this particular first lap. Through the first sort of left of the sweeping section, then you go sort of uphill over a crest, then back down into the chicane, unchallenged at the best part of the top 3, and it seems so far Austin Baton getting away well.
Conditions slightly different to yesterday. Yes, they have had a warm-up session, but temperatures dropping, wind really picking up, as you can see the flags flying in the breeze round at Paddock Bend. So maybe riders just taking a moment, sitting back, getting used to riding out there, and especially with the wind as well, it can cause havoc with these Mini Moto machines. End of lap number 1 though, it is Austin Baton that leads from Cooper Say in P2, and Zach Athertich holding on to 3rd place as well. The likes of Oakley Hipwell moving up and getting a strong start, it would appear, as well, as they will make their way through turn 1 all quite cleanly, and again all with a little bit of a gap forming at the moment. No one really challenging anyone up the front of the pack early doors in this race. They're all just holding their own, again getting used to the conditions, getting used to being back on the bike again. Some of them might be a little bit tired still. It's still quite early in the morning in my eyes, so we'll have to wait and see how this race unfolds, but it's 7 laps left to run. Still Baton that leads from pole.
Yeah, definitely. He's doing a fantastic job, and again it's that maturity that we talk about when it comes to the rookies. rookies, it's that mentality of how to deal with leading a race, and that's something that Payne has done so far so well. Of course, winning the first race of the season back at Lydd and finishing P2 in race 3 as well. So off to a really, really good start in the rookies. Of course, translating that with some good results thus far here at Ellough Park. Looking to go for 2 wins out of 2 races. 7 laps then left to go as they're about to break the beam to make it 6 to go. It's Payne, then from Zach Atherstich staying sort of stable in 3rd place, but you can see the gap between the pair of them not big at all.
No, it is not. Getting very, very close out there, as that is the fastest lap of the race on the previous tour for the race leader, Austin Payne. 1 minute dead, 0.564. Currently lapping, well, that was 2 seconds quicker than anybody else on that previous tour. So Payne feeling it this morning so far. 6 laps left to run. Maybe a move there on Daisy Polden. That'll be Oakley Hipple, I believe, sliding up the inside. Potentially Liam Hoyland on the 14, should I say, and indeed it is. So unfortunately there for Daisy Polden, or Savannah Polden even, that'll be dropping them down into P10 on the 127 as they make their way now through turn 2 and up to turn 3. Slightly awkward here. You've got that left-hand kink before braking, then back to that infield hairpin, then straight back on the gas. You can run across that curb if you like. Probably not advisable though on a Mini Moto machine with no suspension.
Yeah, definitely not. And again, when the bikes are this small as well, they haven't got a lot of power. It's not like the bigger bikes where track usage is paramount. With a lot of these corners are just going to be flat out anyway, or at least taken at a very high speed compared to what the bikes are capable of. So it's not necessarily about taking a really wide line, sort of that wide, tight, wide approach that you'd see across racing. It's almost about minimising that distance, because the speed you carry is almost going to be the same anyway. It's about keeping that power down as best you can, and of course making sure that you're not taking any extra distance that you need. You'll see them hug this inside curve through this final corner, or at least they're going to try to. The 74 there, trying to get the knee down on the exit of that corner. I think that might have been Oakley Hipwell now under pressure going in towards turn number 1. 5 laps left to go. It's still Payne from Say. The gap 4.1 seconds. That last lap nearly a second and a half quicker than Cooper Say.
Yeah, Austin Payne trying to stamp his authority down on this race as he continues to shoot off into the lead. Say himself the healthy leader over Zach Atherstich in P3 as well, currently sitting at 3.8 seconds as we head into the infield chicane, and that is 2 riders down. One of them lost the front, the other one nowhere to go. I believe that was Oakley Hipwell that dropped the front on the exit of the mid-corner. Unfortunately, Liam Hoyland just nowhere to go as a result on the 14. Both riders up on their feet, which is mainly what we want to see, and it's great to see that they're both up, but that could be race over. Looks like it will be race over. A couple of free places for the riders behind, but a real shame there for those two.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to see whatsoever, and in all honesty, there wasn't much that Liam Hoyland could do. The bike in front of him just dropped, and he tried to stop, but in the end just T-boned him in the end, so nothing that he really could have done in that situation. I don't think even Spider-Man was going to be able to react in time on the exit of that hairpin. 4 laps left to go then, and Austin Payne still with a commanding lead out in front on, of course, the 100 machine. Just seeing there, making their way through the first infield hairpin, then of course into these sweepers, and that's all my favourite part of Ellough Park, right? I do it in karting. That corner is so magic, and we'll see later on as well with the bigger bikes. It's taken at such high speed, and then of course the crest up into the crest down into a very technical chicane. Ellough Park is an incredibly difficult circuit to master, especially if it's only sort of your second race weekend on a bike.
Yeah, it is really, really tricky around here. Yes, it is a rider's firm favourite, but it is tough to master this place. But that's what makes it so rewarding, and that's what makes the racing so excellent. Even for these young Mini Moto riders, they're going out there and leaving it all out on the tarmac. 3 laps left to go then, as the riders come across the line there and just making their way steadily around. That's the 171 of Jensen Brown we're currently seeing. Currently P5. He's got a big gap in front of him, 10.7 seconds to Casey Reeson, but an even bigger gap behind him, and by the looks of things, it's 12 seconds to Caden Bailey in P6. So in a bit of no man's land at the moment, but running a very strong race is Brown. As we go back, that is our race leader, the number 100 of Austin Payne, continuing to dominate up the front. Gaps actually come down ever so slightly. It was a bit of a slower lap last time round, now down to 3.3 seconds, but still, as he's about to start the penultimate lap of the race, looking very comfortable up the front.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that can stop him at this rate is going to be himself. But again, at this stage where you're trying to find that consistency, not only are you trying to sort of build confidence and build pace on the bike. Of course, his fastest lap at the moment, a 101.867 at the moment for the race leader. You're trying to build that pace, and the pace that he's definitely got on that previous time by by, but it's also that consistency that you're trying to build lap on lap. Fastest lap just there, shy of a minute dead. Looking very, very strong indeed. At the minute, consistency, he's kind of got it, but of course lap times, when you try new things, you're experimenting as a new rider, they're going to be sort of here, there and everywhere. It's not compromised him in this race one bit. He's got a 4-second gap over Cooper Say and just 1.5 laps left to victory.
He is coming up to a little bit of traffic. Of course, that caused a bit of chaos at the end of race number 1 yesterday, but the gap as well was a lot smaller between himself and Cooper Say when he was held up coming into the final couple of corners. So if he does lose time behind some of the slower riders, I don't think it will compromise him too much. Does have to go the long way round there at the final corner though. That's round the number 42 of Keely Bailey, currently P10. Final lap of the race then for the race leader, and yet super comfortable, super composed. Yes, more traffic up in front, but right now Austin Baton, he looks like he's in his element, and there is nothing stopping him from taking the checkered flag.
Well, let's not hold our breath too much. He's still got half of the lap left to go. Still a bit of lap traffic, but he can take his time with this. Like we say, a nice big gap back to Cooper Say. He's not really in any rush to clear them, of course. He's a racing rider. He's going to want to get to the inside of the sweeping section. The back marker is not really getting in his way. No blue flags, of course, so he's got to clear them all by himself. With just a couple of corners left to go for the first race of the day, Austin Baton just has to keep it on the tarmac.
Only a few corners to go just to negotiate. Could probably cruise home at this point, but he's going to keep it pinned and going to keep pushing. He's still a racer at heart, even being so young. He just wants to get out there and go as fast as he can. Rider down there at the last corner. Looks like a mechanical problem, but they all make their way through okay. There's Baton with traffic in front, rounds the penultimate turn, and well, what a statement ride this has been. Austin Baton will take the checkered flag and dominates in race number 2, the opening race of the weekend in the Fab Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix, with Cooper Say coming home second, Zach Apisic set to finish third. But what a performance, what a ride from Austin Baton. Wins by 1.4 seconds in the end, was held up a little bit on the final lap, but nothing that Cooper Say could do as he finishes second, and Apisic rounding out the podium. Casey Reeson comes home in P4, with Jensen Brown set to finish 5th, Caden Bailey 6th, Theo Tyler 7th, Savannah Polden in P8, Chase Carter in 9th, and Keely Bailey rounding out our top 10. That was a dominating win from Austin Baton, and well, I think we might have a few riders worried heading into race 3 later on today.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat him. I mean, when a rider's just in their groove, right, they just become so hard to beat. Cooper Say, I mean, in terms of best lap times, was 1.4 seconds off, and around a circle like Ellough Park, it's not going to be impossible to close, but with only one more race, there's no practice in between that. He's going purely off the knowledge that he's got from race 2. It's going to be hard to magically find 1.4 seconds. So unless Austin Baton has some problems or completely goes into that final race sort of losing his head, he's going to be the favourite to win and probably take the triple here at Ellough Park.
Yeah, looking really, really quick this weekend is Baton, and I mean 2 race wins. That tells you all you need to know, and both of them in fine fashion as well. One more race later on this afternoon for the Fab Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix, and it should be very, very exciting. That we're back out a little bit later on. Race number 2 then coming up now for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. Race 1 a little bit weird, as we only had one LC40 Elite bike going around at the front in the form of Jensen Cedras, as Maxwell Keats, unfortunately our only other LC40 Elite entry, had a mechanical problem on the way to the grid and was not able to start the race. But we saw some fantastic action elsewhere out on the track, especially, well, of course in the AC40 Pros, and Cedras still puts in a fantastic ride to take the victory and take those 25 points in that class as well. It's a very interesting dynamic, of course, that when you've got 2 classes on track at the same time, especially when one class is that little bit quicker. But, you know, we have seen it before when they've been on track at the same time. You do get occasions where the pro bikes, the slower bikes, the air-cooled bikes, they can push and fight with the liquid-cooled bikes for overall position.
Yeah, they absolutely can. And, of course, last year when they ran the Elites as a separate class, they did still allow the air-cooled pro bikes to enter. And that's where we saw a really fun dynamic. Logan Cousins, of course, on the liquid-cooled bike. But Mason Federic, back when he was on the Mini Moto, was really giving him a fight. I remember the first weekend of 2024 actually at Lid, and you could see Mason Federic really closing the gap through sort of the sweeping sections, but then of course the power of the liquid cooled bike would then propel them a little bit further up. Let's run you through the grid, of course, before we get underway for the second race of the weekend for these guys. It is going to be Maxwell Keats on pole position ahead of Jensen Cedras on row number 1. Henry Brody from Tommy Williams will line up on row number 2 from Joey Athasich and Emerson Oakley. Behind that, Danny Longhurst from Claudia Dudman, Ethan Bayliss and Oliver Wilson lining up P10 and final on the 5th row of the grid. Of course, they're making their way to the to line up now. How important is that start then in these bikes to get that run in towards turn number 1?
It is really, really crucial. We've seen it a couple times already this weekend. We've seen it, of course, in years gone by. If you do have the inside into turn 1, if you do get the launch, you can make up a lot of places, and the odd number places, including P1 starting on the outside of the track. Yes, it is the racing line. Yes, there is going to be more grip there for the immediate launch, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to be in front as you come into turn number 1. Of course, just to remind you, the front 2 on the grid, those are our LC40 bikes. Those are our liquid-cooled elite bikes. Everybody else on the air-cooled pro bikes. Time to get racing for race number 2 here at Ellough Park. Red lights go on. It is lights out and we're underway. Good start there from the pole sitter Maxwell Keats. Coming up, though, very quickly, Jensen Cedras to the inside. And as we just said, the man from second goes into first. But the up and under from Keats as they bomb their way down into turn number 2. He will re-inherit the lead in the LC40 class. Looks like at the moment it's Henry Brody in P3 overall, leading the way in the air-cooled bikes. Already the front 2 starting to stretch away from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to see that over the course of the race. They're just going to slowly build that margin side by side for the race lead in the AC40 Pro class as well. That's going to be Williams versus Brody going into the sweeping section for the first time. Seems so far so good though for our pole sitter Maxwell Keats into the chicane for the opening lap, and you can see just how tight it is in the pros as well. So we've got the 2 horses at the front that are going to be working their way for the liquid cool class, but still the air cool pros are going to be looking good as well. Look at that, very, very close at the 23. That's going to be Henry Brody trying to close in on Tommy Williams for the race lead.
Yeah, looking really tight already in the air-cooled class. Crossing the line to start lap number 2. 8 laps left to go in the liquid-cooled class. And it must be said, not a lot to separate them, although Keats does get a better run out of turn number 1. So it's Keats from Cedras, 1 and 2 overall. They are 1 and 2 in the liquid-cooled elite class. And it's currently Emerson Oakley on the 63 that leads the way, making up a whole host of positions away from the start. He leads the way. He's P3 overall and leading the way in the pro class. Just behind him, though, look at that. We've got Brody, Tommy Williams, Joey Atsich, Danny Longhurst, all of them covered at the line by just a touch over a second. So a huge 5-way battle forming for the win and for the podium places in the air-cooled 40 Pro class. This could get really interesting as the race unfolds.
Look at that, maybe an opportunity going into the hairpin just in behind. That's going to be Henry Brody trying to find a way through into the lead. Always tempting going into that hairpin, always even more tempting going into the penultimate corner there. You're sending it up the inside as you try and open up that penultimate corner. The inside very much opens up. Brody nearly took it. Now as we approach turn number 1 for the third time, look to the inside there from the 23. Also look for Tommy Williams to go to the outside as well. The up and under very prevalent with the exit here at Ellough Park being so important. So far though, no changes to the train.
Yeah, keeping pushing. Everyone's attacking and defending at the same time. It's a bit of an awkward situation when you're in these huge fights because you're not really sure what you're going to do. But Henry Brody, man oh man, that was a send up the inside into turn number 3. The infield hairpin gets into the lead of this train and gets into the lead of the air-cooled race. That was a lovely move there. Drops Emerson Oakley down into second. Tommy Williams still holding on to third, of course. Just a reminder, this is third down to 7th place overall. First down to 5th in the AC40 Pro class. And looks like Tommy Williams as well, trying to make some moves, but maybe not quite as they push their way through. Does that look like Henry Brody back to the lead of this train? I believe it is, and yes, he has. So there's been a mistake somewhere for the 63 of Emerson Oakley as they come to line. And Henry Brody, as a result, has opened up a little bit of a gap, a second between himself and Tommy Williams. So a mistake somewhere for the 63 has led him dropping down, and now he looks like he might be losing more positions if he's not careful.
Yeah, potentially so. It's all about momentum, and as soon as you lose one place, everyone behind you just sort of starts getting hungry, opens the door up. Maybe that's going to have a look into the inside of the hairpin, but covered off quite nicely there from the 63. Not able there to be overtaken on that particular occasion. 6 laps left to go, make that 5.5 as they're making their way round. No changes at the front either between Maxwell Keats and Jensen Cedras. That gap continues to grow. Look to the inside, send to the chicane chicane. Lovely stuff there from Joey Athisish, I think it was, making his way up the inside. Now towards the Paddock hairpin, and it's gone from bad to worse there for Emerson Oakley, tumbling down the order, potentially losing another one. He needs to get his head back on straight. He needs to regain his composure and get back in this race.
Yeah, Oakley was running super well and suddenly starting to struggle. A real shame for that young rider. Athisish now to P3 in class, and Oakley could be losing out to Danny Longhurst here as well if he's not careful. Longhurst gets a good run out of turn 1, doesn't see a gap into turn 2, but is looking again. Everyone very hungry to try and make up positions. Small error on the tip in there from Longhurst. Had to sit the bike up ever so slightly and will still maintain position behind Oakley for the time being. And Oakley, yeah, just it's almost like a cork in a bottle the last couple of laps, it seems, because once the other riders have gone through, they've managed to open up the gap. Unfortunately, it's meant that the train's all fallen apart a little bit, but it also must be frustrating for the likes of Danny Longhurst still behind, seeing the other riders shooting off into the distance.
Yeah, exactly, and you'd be surprised how powerful slipstream can be, especially on a windy day like this. Look around the circuit, you'll see just how ferocious those flags are waving, and that even on sort of mini motos, it makes a difference because you're getting hit by that air. If you can tuck in behind another rider, you're going to gain a lot, and as soon as you lose that slipstream with the riders in front, it becomes harder and harder to close that gap. So Danny Longhurst might be getting quite frustrated to be stuck behind Emerson Oakley. Not something I thought we would have been saying at the start of this race, considering the pace that the 63 had. There, of course, is the 51 of Tommy Williams versus Henry Brody, so we've still got a lead fight going on in the AC40 Pro class. The 51, of course, can see the race win right in front of him. It's the all pink of Brody, the all blue of Williams, who's going to come out on top with 3.5 to go.
Could be really, really tight. Tommy Williams looks very racy in this phase of the race, but of course it's one thing to follow a rider in front, it's another thing to launch a move, and Henry Brody is very stoic in his defence. Runs a little bit deep though at the exit of the Paddock bend. Does mean he gets a bit more momentum, and for now it looks like it will be Tommy Williams holding position in P2 in class for the time being. 3 laps left to go at the front of the AC40 Pro race as they cross the line. Brody tips it in, looks pretty confident. He's not checking back, he's happy with how he's running. Doesn't look like he needs to go too defensive at the moment either. He's seemingly confident he has enough space just to stay in front of Williams on his own accord. Tommy Williams might have to come up with something a little bit special. Little look to the inside there to the infield hairpin. Nothing came out of it. I think he's just trying to look and see where he might be a little bit better than Brody, see if he can find a spot where he can set up a move and launch it in a few minutes time.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be analysing the rider in front of you, finding out where you're quicker, where do you get on the power a bit quicker than them, where can you brake a bit later, where is your line a bit tighter, those sorts of things, and then you start lining up, where am I going to make that move, and you almost plan it 2 or so laps in advance. You say, okay, for the next lap I'm going to close the gap, as soon as the door opens I'm going to be on it. A good exit at the final corner could well be beneficial for Tommy Williams. Did just want to say also the level that Henry Brody has risen to in 2025 over 2024 was only in the top 5 on 4 occasions over sort of 21 races in that season, so not the best conversion. Comes into 2025, it is really mixing up at the front, so great to see that a winter reset can be so valuable for these riders leading the way. Can he hold on to it?
It's always a joy seeing that with our junior riders here in the Fab Racing Paddock. That is the race leader overall and in the LC40 Pros, Maxwell Keats, about to start the final lap of the race. And he's got a huge gap behind. It was 4.8 seconds at the line last time to Jensen Cedras in P2. And yeah, well, now 5.2 seconds. He's lapping extraordinarily quickly and continuing to push onwards. Didn't finish race 1, didn't even start race 1 yesterday after a mechanical issue on the way to the grid. Allowed Cedras a free 25 points and heading into Sunday's action. But now as he comes and makes his way to lap traffic, he's looking to bounce back and pick up where he feels like he should have started yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. He's got some redemption to do. Of course, lapping the likes of Claudia Dudeman, I think, at the back end of the field. Just a couple of corners left to go then for Tommy Keats, and it's more a novelty than anything, a parade lap if you will. 5.2 seconds was the gap. Just got to keep himself on the bike out of the final corner and accelerating to see the checkered flag first. For the LC40 Elite class, it's going to be Maxwell Keats that takes victory here at race 2 for Ellough Park, and very, very nicely done indeed. You can see the fist. He's happy.
Yeah, a lovely, lovely ride there from Maxwell Keats. Takes the win overall and in the LC40 Elites, with Jensen Cedras P2 4.3 seconds behind at the end. Keats, I think, backed off to a little celebration. Meanwhile, the AC40 Pros still haven't finished. Here they come to the line now. Drag race. By the looks of things, no, that was some lap traffic. In fact, that was Ethan Bayliss and Oliver Wilson. But it was a drag race fighting for P9. It is Henry Brody that takes the win in the AC40 Pros. Third place overall. He was 22.5 seconds off of Jensen Cedras. Just shows the pace difference between the two classes. It's Keats from Cedras 1 and 2 in the LC40 Pros. In AC40, or LC40 Elite, should I say, in AC40 Pro, it's Henry Brody, Tommy Williams and Joey Athasich on the podium. Emerson Oakley was 4th, with Danny Longhurst 5th, Claudia Dubman was 6th, Ethan Bayliss 7th, and Oliver Wilson in P8. So, a statement ride there from Maxwell Keats. After not being able to start race 1 yesterday, he's come out today swinging and taken a dominant win in race number 2. Sets up a very interesting dynamic moving forward into race number 3, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. So really, really looking forward to seeing how those two do battle. Of course, fastest lap times, Maxwell Keats, similar to what we saw in the rookies, a second a lap faster on average than Jensen Cedras, and that is a huge advantage to have. But the AC40 Pro class between Brody, Williams, of course, you have the likes of Emerson Oakley, who, again, another rider who's taken a really nice step up. Wasn't even the top 5 once over the course of 2024, taking a step up into pros. Of course, didn't quite have the longevity or the stamina in that race to maintain at the front, but the initial getaway was good, and if he can maintain that for the entirety of the 8 laps, we can have a really good front-running contender.
Well, then, those guys, they'll be back out for race number 3 later on for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites, with some very interesting racing dynamics and some very interesting battles on track as well. Time for race number 2 in the senior mini motos. For many people, the highlight of the weekend is this class, because it always provides crazy action. And as we start heading to the grid, it's Reece Gentry who starts on pole position, Matt Birkin alongside. Callum White is 3rd with Mark Payne P4. Keaton Payne is 5th with David Meyer 6th. Lamar Morgan and Chris Romans on row 4, with Andy Whedon and Nick Bennett rounding out the top 10. Gary Eldridge is 11th with Harvey Jeremy in P12. Steve Johns 13th with Peter Appleton 14th, and Rob Gentry in P15. Reece Gentry looks to be the fastest rider this weekend, but a DNF, a mechanical issue in race number 1, let Matt Birkin cruise on home with a 3.5 second advantage. Let's hope that Gentry is able to hold on to those issues today, and maybe we've got a race for the lead on our hands.
Yeah, indeed. So really looking forward to this. Of course, the senior mini moto is one of the premier classes, of course, of Fab Racing. We love it. Of course, for some, for their first time, looks a bit silly. Of course, it's going to be a sighting lap for the seniors. Not going, well, according to the initial plan, so not to the lights, but a formation lap getting underway. But yeah, Matt Birkin, of course, the reigning champion of 2024, and people coming into Fab Racing for the first time. Sometimes it's the first class they ever see. It's big men on little bikes. Looks a bit silly, but the racing that you get is phenomenal.
It absolutely always is. Sometimes it's chaotic. Sometimes they push the envelope on the rules a little bit, but it does make it interesting. Yeah, interesting we're getting a sighting lap. Not heard anything about that, but just means that the riders have a little bit of time to work their way around and figure things out, and we'll have to wait and see. Of course, another rider who had issues yesterday, Mark Payne, unfortunately, a DNF as well on lap number 3, and we saw a few people just having issues all throughout. The 711 of Nick Bennett as well also had issues and was ultimately unable to start the race. Meanwhile, Reece Gentry, after an off, he was able to recover to 5th place in the end, but you know, that's still unideal when you want to be winning and you're starting from the pole position. So you've got to wait and see how it's all going to unfold in this one as they make their way onto the grid. This time we'll be getting to go racing. You can see the race director, Roger Keys, there just on the bottom right hand of your picture. Maybe just keeping an eye on him. He knows these boys can be a bit cheeky sometimes.
Yeah, cheeky is definitely one way to put it. They can get a little bit feisty as well. Of course, they're these are they're grown men. They know what they're doing. They've been in bike racing for a while, and they're there to have a bit of fun, bit of banter. Of course, they have to go back to work tomorrow, so they're here for as much fun as they can possibly get. Waiting, of course, for them to line up at the back of the field. Then it'll be eyes to the lights. It's going to be Reece Gentry from our reigning champion Matt Birkin on the front row. Lights are on, lights are off, and we go racing here at Ellough Park. And of course, a good start there from the 100 machine Matt Birkin. tumbling down the order. That's a good start there from, I think it was the 22 of David Meyer, able to make a couple of places going into turn 1. Now, of course, into turn 2, Gentry with a solid lead as they approach the first sector.
Another disappointing start from Matt Birkin. He's been really struggling at those in 2025, but we know the pace. Let's see if the number 1 plate can make his way back up through the field. Great launch away there from David Meyer to get up into second place and maybe put a bit of pressure on the pole sitter Reece Gentry as well. All clean so far as we head into the S's, and now the bottom end of the racetrack over the crest and into the hairpin. Really, really tricky through that section. And look at that, Birkin already potentially lining up a move. He drew alongside second place, unable to make it stick on that occasion. As they come to the end of lap 1, it will be Reece Gentry that leads from David Meyer second, and P3 Matt Birkin. Let's see if the order changes over the next couple laps.
It was a really, really strong round for David Meyer this time last year. Look to the inside though from the number 1 machine. That's Matt Birkin, our reigning champion, up the inside of turn 1, but Meyer with the switchback gets the inside line for turn 2. This long sweeping right-hander, and the outside line prevailing on that particular occasion for Matt Birkin. 2 DNFs for the reigning champion this time last year. Fell off at the last corner, and I think it was a chain fell off in race 2 as well. So not exactly the happiest of hunting grounds, but he bounced back in race 3 to win. It seems the pace definitely is there, but if he continues to squabble with David Meyer, Reece Gentry is going to love that and extend the gap or keep a comfortable margin.
Matt Birkin last year as well, the complete opposite of his brother Josh, who took victory in race number 1 and then 2 DNFs afterwards as well. No Josh so far this season, unfortunately. I wonder if his fiancée still doesn't want him hurting himself, which is a shame, as we got a big one. 2 riders down, coming together. That's through the S's section. That looks like it may be Andy Whedon potentially, and that is the 7 of Andy Whedon. Someone else down as well, going over to check everyone's okay, and that is the main thing. Race continuing for the time being, but Andy Whedon going down possibly with Rob Gentry as well, who is running alongside him. Race still continues with 7 laps left to run. Matt Birkin now in the lead, and now we do have a red flag waving, I believe, and yet we see the riders slowing down there. The red flag now out in the third race of the day here, race 2 of the senior mini motos, after an incident involving, by the looks of things, Andy Whedon and possibly Steve Johns on the 77 as well. Our first red flag of the weekend. We'll let you know as soon as we know that everyone is okay, but not a nice incident there. A solid race so far, though, heading into this slight delay here, Zach. Really interesting to see, and we just saw as well, before the red flag to wave, Matt Birkin getting up into the lead.
Yeah, we did indeed. Of course, he was very, very close with Reece Gentry. He set the fast lap of the race by 0.5 of a second versus Reece Gentry. So, yeah, the pace definitely is there for the number 5. Of course, not the nicest of incidents at all. Andy Whedon, of course, on that 7 machine. We saw in a bit of pain. It's a fast section of circuit, and as well, you're on the limit. You go through the left almost flat out, then you flick it into the right, and you're on the limit. Any slight bit of understeer, especially as we can sort of assume you're going side by side with another rider. I had it my first ever time racing here, Ross. I go side by side with someone. I'm on the outside. I get clipped. I go straight into the tyre barrier. It very easily happens when you're on the limit. Just any slight bit of understeer, and it can very quickly turn into quite a big incident with the speed that you're carrying. It seems that from what we can see, Whedon is sat up and sort of okay to some extent, just being checked over, of course, by the fantastic medical crew, and you can see there the ambulance making swift work to get over there, and that's amazing. So from what we can see, incidents do happen. Motorsport is dangerous, but it wouldn't be possible without the amazing efforts from all of the marshals and, of course, the medical crew for being able to check up on each of the riders when things do happen.
Absolutely, yeah. Big thank you to all the medics, to all the marshals, the ambulance crew, just heading over, hopefully just a precaution, and hopefully we'll be able to get racing very, very shortly once again. But yeah, the medical crew just attending to the incident now, and as you said, Zach, a big thank you to them, a big thank you to all the marshals, either the trackside marshals in the orange or in our junior classes, the roving marshals, people within the Fab Racing paddock who go out there to make sure that we can go racing as safely as possible. Without them, it simply wouldn't be possible. So a big thank you to every single one of those who help us go, and of course a big thank you to everyone who's who goes racing, or not to everyone who goes racing, a big thanks to them as well for allowing us to
say, it's not much of a championship if no one on track.
But I was going to say a big thank you to everyone in race control as well, the likes of Rob and Roger Keys as well, the race directors here at Fab Racing, who enable everything to happen so slick and so smoothly here as well. If you are just joining us, we're having a brief red flag delay in the second senior mini moto race of the weekend. We're 3 races down so far. You've missed a couple of great junior races in the AC40 Rookies, brought to you by Grassroots Grand Prix, and the AC40 Pro and LC40 Elite class. Hopefully this delay won't be too long. We'll keep you posted and keep you updated as soon as we know what is going on. But until now, very interesting morning of racing. 2.5 races done so far. Some interesting battles, some very, very strong rides as well, straight out of the gates from a couple of the riders.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it comes to the senior mini motos, we saw David Meyer started up at 6th place on the grid and just got the launch. And of course, when you've got such little machines and such big bodies on them, that race start becomes so important to just get the power down. You saw at the start Matt Perkins sort of using his foot almost like a skateboard to get it underway, just to give any sort of extra propulsion that you possibly can to get these mini motos underway. And if you can just time it right, good reactions to the start, and again just getting that power down, getting that delivery that you need, it's going to be paramount. And that's exactly what David Myatt was able to do. Couple that not only with a good start, but then also the conversion, the commitment into turn one. Very easily you can sort of get a good start, then stall yourself by going, oh, hang on, is there space? David Myatt had no hesitation and was straight up into contention for the race lead.
Yeah, it was a great start there from the 22. As here's a sight you don't often see, the senior mini moto guys, some of them helmets off, just chilling at the side of the track. There we see Lamar Morgan sat on the tyres. We saw a few others as well in the previous picture, seeing the likes of Mark Payne, number 18. Lamar Morgan, of course, fantastic to have him here this weekend. He's been struggling with an illness over the last couple of months. Unfortunately, he tried to race at Lid, wasn't quite able to, but fantastic to see him here racing this weekend at Ellough Park. And of course, we send him all of our well wishes and the best of luck out on track as well. And he's been running very solidly so far this weekend. But yeah, not often you see the riders' helmets off. And so in case you're wondering what they look like under the helmets, there you go. There's a few of them. Maybe not so much in this on this shot, just Lamar Morgan. The rest of them all helmets on, deciding to stay focused. It is an interesting dynamic that when there's a red flag, because obviously you've got to almost completely reset all your emotions and all your focus, because we may completely restart the race. We're only a handful of laps in. We may restart with 7 laps left to go as we go. So it's almost like you've done all that build-up, you know, you've got your focus dialed in, you've got the adrenaline there, and then you've got to do it all again a few moments later.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of a crash of adrenaline. All those hormones go rushing around, and very quickly it then just comes crashing back down. Of course, when you're sort of, I mean, we didn't get incredibly deep into the race, but we got sort of 2 or 3 laps in, and when you're getting into that rhythm, you settle into the consistency, you find your groove, and then you have to stop. And like you say, it's then that reset, it's then having to do it all over again. Some riders are going to hate that, the likes maybe of Rhys Gentry, who built up a nice rhythm at the start. Matt Birkin, who was just getting into his flow, is going to love that. Riders a little bit further down, though, might be looking at this as an opportunity to make amends for what could have been maybe a slightly poor start.
That is the flip side, of course. You know, looking at Matt Birkin, not the greatest getaway from him. This is an opportunity for him to make up for that and for him to go again. Again, we'll wait to hear what the plan is. We're still waiting to hear any updates, but it looks all okay for the time being. We'll get a message from race control, I'm sure, in a few moments' time, telling us it'll either be a total race restart or we'll restart with 7 laps left to go, as we were when the red flags started waving. If you are just joining us, hello and welcome to the second round. Sunday's action here at Ellough Park for the MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. We are currently in a red flag delay due to an incident midway through the 3rd race of the day, race number 2 for the senior mini motos, and hopefully we'll be getting going soon. And I hope you've enjoyed all of the coverage and all of the action so far this weekend. Of course, we've got the rest of the race 2s and all of the race 3s to come this weekend as well. Let us know who you think is going to be on top. Let us know who you're supporting, and as well for the Fab Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix, let us know as well who you think rider of the round is, because that will be announced at the end of race number 3, and they'll be receiving a little trophy for their performances. So let us know who you think is deserving of that one for our youngest and our most junior category at the end of this. So hopefully, Zach, not too long till we start going racing once again. And again, we're waiting to see if we're getting a whole race reset or we'll be starting with 7 laps left to go. Either way, we're sure to get some more fast and furious senior mini moto action.
Definitely so, and standing up, putting helmets on. So I think it's not going to be too long until we see them back out onto track. Well, they're out on track anyway, back racing. Let's put it that way. So yeah, at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, just again waiting for final confirmation. But you can see there they're starting the bikes up. Let us know then, like Ross said, what are going to be your sort of predictions for this race? Of course, can see a lot of people cheering us on in the YouTube chat. Fantastic to see all of your participation. Like we say, let us know who you're supporting, who you're cheering on, and what do you think thus far of the senior mini motos in 2025. Matt Birkin seems to be having some performance issues getting that bike started, but all seems to be good. He'll be lining up once again on the restart for P2. Still waiting for final confirmation as to what the plan is. I think the race director there, you can see in the high vis now walking over, is going to confirm what the plan is, and then we get to go racing for again for the senior mini motos and see how we get on, because it's looking like it could have been a fantastic race up until then. Just seeing the ambulance pull in now outside of the commentary box, we'll be going racing very shortly.
Absolutely. Again, a big thank you to all the medics and the marshals for attending to that incident so quickly. And the riders have made their way back into the dummy area. So again, we're just waiting for confirmation of what's happening. The ambulance is now leaving the circuit. Again, we'll let you know that everyone is okay as soon as we know, but very, very speedy to the scene of the crash, and hopefully everyone is okay. I believe it's Andy Whedon who was the main rider involved in that incident as well. Steve Johns, another rider that was involved. Good to see that Steve's up on his feet, though. That's the main thing. Talking to Rob Keys there, one of the organisers here, and I think he's essentially mainly the chief mechanic of the entire paddock as well. If anyone has anything break and the mechanic of that bike has no idea how to fix it, they'll just get Rob to fix it, and normally he can. He's an absolute whiz on a spanner. So good to see Rob out there. Hope he's enjoying this weekend's action as well, and hopefully we'll be getting going racing very, very shortly. The riders have made their way back to the dummy grid, so hopefully they'll be heading out shortly.
Yeah, indeed so. And you can see there, Steve John's actually restarting the bike. Maybe he'll be able to take it to the start despite being involved in that incident for the initial sort of getaway for race number 2 of the senior mini motos in 2025. Just want a quick run through, of course, of how the championship is racking up. We don't have the beautiful blonde man that is Will Howarth with us today on the 96. However, Matt Perkins was the second highest point scorer back in Lid. Chris Yeomans, who again isn't here. Oh no, he is. He's on the 85. He's down in 7th, so he is here as well. Only 6 points between the pair of them. David Meyer, Andy Whedon did a good job as well back in Lid. Of course, like we were saying before the broadcast, the championship at this stage, a bit of a novelty. It's a nice thing to have. It's not that big of a deal, but when you sort of get to rounds 5 and 6 where you're thinking, oh hang on, I need some points here, you look back to Ellough Park and think, I could have done a bit of a better job. It's better to act in the present than regret it in the future.
And it's also bizarre as well, because it is such a short season here in Fab Racing, only 7 rounds across the year. Yes, there's lots of racing in that, but it's points like this where, yes, right now it's a bit of a novelty, but at the end of this weekend, round number 2, of course, this is when we actually do need to start thinking about the championship, and we do need to start going, okay, who's our contenders, who's lining up, who's a favourite, who could be a dark horse for this kind of thing. Of course, blonde bombshell Will Howarth, he's not here unfortunately, but he did sweep round number 1 back at Lid at the end of April, so opportunities for others to make up points. We don't think that Will Howarth will. I mean, obviously he's not doing a full campaign, he's missed 1 round already here, but we don't think he's doing a full campaign at all. He's only going to be available for a couple of rounds, so I don't think he'll be nailing himself down as a championship contender. So it's who else that is going to be here across the season. Your likes of your Matt Perkins, your Chris Yeomans, your David Meyer as well, who came on a long way last season, has started this year. Weren't the best of rounds at Lid, unfortunately, but he's had a strong weekend so far here at Ellough Park. He could be a real dark horse moving forward. And again, we've got to do that for all of our other championships as well. I'm sure we'll discuss that when they are out on track. Again, if you're just joining us, this is only the 3rd race of the day so far, race 2 of the senior mini motos. We're just experiencing a red flag delay at the moment due to an incident involving Steve Johns and Andy Whedon. We're hoping they'll be back out onto track as soon as possible and we can get going with the rest of the day's action. Of course, all the rest of race 2s and race 3s yet to come. If you're watching along, be it on Motorsport Radio or on the Fab Racing channels, be it on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching from around the world, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, subscribing to help get these riders out there, help get Fab Racing out there and show the best of grassroots British bike racing. And as well, let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who you think's going to win. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, let us know who you think is the Fab Racing Rookies Cup Rider of the Weekend. That'll be announced at the end of race 3. They get a little trophy. New award coming into this round by the sounds of things. So that's quite exciting.
And we've become important because we have to decide who it is. We have responsibility as commentators. Of course, at the end of the day, we're gonna have the announcement. We're gonna have the privilege of announcing it. Of course, you guys in YouTube chat are going to influence the decision at the end of the day. So let us know who you're thinking of when it comes to the rookies, because again, they're young riders. They're on their first couple of steps up the motorbike racing ladder, and there are some huge stars. I mean, when you sort of cash in your tickets 5-6 years, they'll only be 11, so maybe 10-15 years down the line when they're racing on the world stage, you can claim your day 1 ticket here and say, well, hang on, round 2, Fab Racing 2025. I voted them for Rider of the Round. That's me. So we're going to be looking over the course of that. Not only, of course, this round, but I'm sure the rest of 2025 as well. Still waiting on confirmation as to what's going to happen for the senior Mini Motos. Did want to go back to what you were saying about the championship points and stuff, because when obviously you have a rider like Will Howarth, who is obviously very, very quick and a front runner whenever he gets on the bike, he's not going to compete for the championship, but he is going to mix it up when it comes to the points. If he's fighting at the front, it means that those top points, that 25 points for a win, is almost restricted for the likes of Matt Birkin, or it becomes a much harder thing to obtain. We saw it last year in the Pit Bike 140s. Jamie King, as soon as Lucas Brown or Chris Wells came up to give him some contention, well, can you really call it competition when Jamie King is finishing second, let's be honest, but it really mixed it up and made it a little bit harder for him to win that championship, but in the end, that consistency is what prevailed.
Exactly, but it is those kinds of things as well, where the riders are coming in and, you know, taking race wins at the odd round here or there. Those points can cost you later down the line as well. So it's all up in the air. All these little things, the bits of luck potentially, obviously racing people that aren't there the whole season. We see it a lot in classes like the Pit Bikes and the Extreme 200s, as you mentioned, when we get a lot of riders returning to Fab Racing from things like the British Talent Cup. It just all comes to a head. And that's why we do sometimes see championships going down to the very death, even though there is maybe one rider who has been the class of the field, just because they've lost out points here or there. They've not quite been able to maximise their performances, maximise their points total. And, you know, it can upset you. It's very rare that thing is going to cost people championships, but it can certainly affect them and certainly make the battles a little bit closer. As you said, Zach, still waiting on confirmation, but thank you very much for joining us for all of the action this weekend here at round 2 of the MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. Myself, Ross McIntyre, Zach Sweeney alongside you, bringing you all of the action. Of course, just waiting for confirmation of if we are going to get going again in race number 2 of the Senior Mini Moto's third race of the day so far here on Sunday, and some great racing all across the weekend. There is the race director, Roger Keats. He's the man who will be letting us know what the plan is going forward. He's just walking down to race control now. It's just situated in a, I won't say a shed because that feels bad, but it is a box room kind of just off to the right hand side of the gantry there. That's where all the guys at race control, the hub so to speak, I guess that's probably a better term. So he'll head back into there. Hopefully we'll have some news soon about what the plan is. But all the riders in the Senior Mini Motos are still waiting down onto the dummy grid. So hopefully we'll be going in there. We can see race control just up there. So Roger will make his way. Don't worry, there is a path there. He's not just going to have to walk through a bush to try and get into it. Yeah, maybe not quite that. There is actually a path going up just outside of the shop. And there we see Pit Bike Sonic himself, Jamie King, hometown hero, the man who seemingly can only finish in second place after time, even though he is the reigning and 4-time Pit Bike 140 champion. Been struggling a little bit this weekend, Zach. It is his home track. He always runs pretty well here, so to speak, but a big high side out of turn 1 on Friday, still feeling a little bit stiff. And race 1, yes, he was second, but just could not keep up with Richard Holmes-Williams. Yeah, it was a really good pace from Holmes-Williams, actually. And of course, Jamie King, this is his home circuit. I mean, he's always here for the bike nights that Ellough Park run as well, so anyone that's sort of local to the Suffolk area that you want to get some more time on your bike, definitely do look into participating. I think it's £40 a night. You get 4 hours worth of track time that, of course, you can use as and when you like. Definitely do so, because track time is invaluable. The Senior Mini Motos about to get themselves back out on track. Let's have a quick reminder as to how they rack up on the grid. It'll be Reece Gentry that will line up on pole position from Matt Birkin on the front row. Callum White from Mark Payne. Keats and Payne just in behind alongside David Meyer on row number 3. Lamar Morgan, Chris Yeomans, Andy Whedon, who I don't think will be taken to this start. Header Nick Bennett, Gary Eldridge, Harvey Jeremy, Steve Johns, Peter Appleton and Rob Gentry at the back of the field. They're making their way to the grid once again. And Ross, we've got confirmation 6-lap sprint race then for the restart. Not a total race restart then. We do have a bit of time on our side. We were running a bit ahead of schedule already. We were really quick in the warm-ups in the morning. But yeah, 6 laps, so a bit of a shortened race. Maybe just the elbows out a little bit more. We are going to have another sighting lap, just been told in our ears. So we're going round one more time just to get used to things, just get the tyres, the brakes back up to temperature, make sure everyone's feeling comfortable, and we can get ready to go racing as they do start making their way round on their sighting lap. And we'll get ready to go once again. Another slow getaway. Yes, it is a sighting lap, but another slow getaway from Matt Birkin there. Wonder if he's having issues getting that bike off the line.
Yeah, potentially so. It could just be the power delivery is not what he wants it to be, or it could just be that his reaction time is maybe not the greatest. Again, it is a formation lap, so he might not have been trying to get a good start, but definitely evident over the course of the first start that he didn't get away too well. But it's not exactly how you start, it's how you finish. But getting away well is definitely going to give yourself a couple of favours in terms of not having to fight so hard, because when you've got a rider as aggressive as David Myatt, Matt Birkin almost got caught up squabbling with him too much that allowed Rhys Gentry to, at least for the opening phase of the race, build up a bit of a gap. That's something that Birkin is going to want to avoid.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to go racing. Oh, someone's having issues there. That's the 85 of Chris Yeomans, and he's found something. Is those his glasses, or has someone else dropped their glasses on the racetrack? Either way, shake of the head. Chris Yeomans doing us a service, gets back on the bike, glasses in tow. I'm hoping that someone will return those. Yeah, not every day that, sometimes you do get bits and pieces along on a racetrack. Not often it is a pair of spectacles. So hopefully it'll be that'll be all okay. So just being told in our ear as well, the reason we're having the sighting laps for the senior mini motos, they have riders themselves actually asked to have one. So for the rest of the classes, it should be back to how we're running today on Sunday, straight out onto the grid from the dummy grid, and then it's red lights on, red lights off. It'll be only in the senior mini motos, by the looks of things, that we are having a green flag sighting lap. So then we're getting ready to go racing. There we are. Chris Yeomans just making people aware of the glasses that have been found out on the racing track. Again, not the normal kind of object that you find lying there. It's not often that glasses are debris, but it's been handed in now. We're getting ready to go racing. The flag marshal will point to the lights. For the second time, it is red lights on. 6 laps this time. It's red lights off. We're underway. Another poor getaway for reigning champion Matt Birkin. David Myatt once again slides into second, but it is Rhys Gentry that inherits the lead from the pole down into turn 1, gets the whole shot and gets a lovely run into turn 2 as well. Few battles further back in the pack, but it's Gentry from Myatt. Birkin already trying to make up for lost ground, may have to go the long way around, won't come into fruition. A little bit of an attack there on the inside, nothing comes of it though. It is Gentry from Myatt, from Birkin, your top 3.
Yeah, looking very, very strong. Rhys Gentry just getting away well. David Myatt with an almighty start from 6th place on the field. Matt Birkin already looking to go up the inside of the chicane, nicely done, but the up and under could well be there for David Myatt. And look at the gap, the 100 machine. Rhys Gentry has already got a couple of bike lengths to open up this lap. That's going to be invaluable with only 5 laps left to go at the line.
Yeah, as they make their way around to start lap number 2 of this restarted race. Gentry with a gap, Birkin up to second. Can he pull away from Myatt and start attacking the number 100? Myatt with the fastest opening lap so far, 56.365. Let's see if he can continue that pace as the top 3 now do start to break away from the rest of the pack. It's Keats and Payne currently holding on in P4, with Mark Payne just behind him in P5 as well. And Birkin right on the tail of Rhys Gentry. 5 laps, 4.5 realistically left to run. A sprint race here in race 2 of the senior mini motos, and it is already getting fast and furious as they head through to the bottom end of the racetrack.
Yeah, really great to see, of course, the lines that they take. They obviously lean in and then straighten up the bike to almost open up the chicane as much as they can. Really, really good to see how the senior mini motos attack Ellough Park, because of course acceleration is paramount, and when you're slightly heavier on the bike, that's not quite what you're going to get, like we saw with Matt Birkin. Rhys Gentry then from Matt Birkin. Let's see how they break the beam. Matt Birkin looming large in the rear view, of course, of the 100 of Rhys Gentry, up the inside and takes the lead of the race. But the up and under there, the 100 machine back on the switchback and back into the lead.
Yeah, lovely racing here from the pair of them, but Matt Birkin sweeps up the inside in turn number 2. Gentry with the momentum. Birkin has to go to fences, squeezes him to the edge of the racetrack. Gentry no answers this time at the infield hairpin, and Matt Birkin potentially takes the lead of the race. Not done yet though, this battle rages on. Birkin, big wobble on the front end, manages to sit the bike up, manages to stay on. Gentry all over the back at him, with David Myatt still keeping in tow. If these two start fighting, the 22 currently in 3rd place can just sit back, watch, hope they fire each other off, and he can take the easiest race win of his life as they come now to make it 3 laps left to go. It's now Birkin that leads from Gentry, from Myatt, your top 3. Any potential run there from Gentry? No, not into turn number 1. Elsewhere, it's Keats and Payne and Mark Payne 4th and 5th. Lamar Morgan 6th and Callum White 7th, and Andy Whedon's in P8 as Gentry looks to the the inside, doesn't quite make it work. We thought that it was Andy Whedon that was caught in the incident earlier on that led to the red flag. Was in fact Peter Appleton. They're both running the number 7, so a bit of confusion there. Birkin still holds on, but Gentry's all over him.
Yeah, a bit wide there from Matt Birkin. You can see they're using the entirety of the rumble strip. Going to be quite an uncomfortable ride on the Mini Motos, but you can see there Reece Gentry just with the acceleration off the back end of that final corner, and that's going to be paramount if he wants to get this move started. Matt Birkin, of course, under a world of pressure with just 2 laps left to go at the line. Slightly defensive riding taking place then from Matt Birkin, and look at that, David Meyer reeling these two in as soon as there's a battle to take place. Like you say, he's going to be there, he's going to arrive on scene, and he's going to be looking to churn in some good lap times and apply some pressure. They break the beam, and I think Matt Birkin ever so slightly quicker on that previous lap. You can see about a bike length now between the pair of them. If Reece Gentry wants to win this race, he needs to get a move on.
Only 2 to go though, time running short, and Gentry looking left, looking right, not quite able to get all over the back of the number 1 plated machine just yet. Just falling back slightly, but looks really good on the brakes into the infield section. Both of them running a little bit of curve. Gentry to the inside of the sweepers. Oh, that's brilliant from Reece Gentry, and gets it confirmed as well. Any fight back from Birkin? Not on this occasion. A wonderful move as we're about to come onto the final lap of the race. Bombing down into Paddock Bend. Birkin a little bit too far back. It's going to have to be last chance saloon perhaps for Matt Birkin. He's going to have to spend a bit of the lap setting it up. This could be a titanic final lap.
Yeah, Matt Birkin, of course, he's leaving it late if he wants to go for a counter-attack, but maybe that's the best thing. Last lap board shown, and defensive ever so slightly, but he's left the door open. Matt Birkin straight back to the inside of turn 1. Reece Gentry tries to get the switch back, but Birkin cleverly covers it off. Now look for David Meyer. Around the outside goes Reece Gentry, trying to go the long way of turn number 2, but the shorter distance favours Matt Birkin into the heavy braking zone of the hairpin. The inside opens up, and Reece Gentry goes for the lead.
Oh, it was lovely defending from Matt Birkin there, just parking the bike on the apex, but couldn't keep the inside covered into the infield hairpin. Coming down to the final few corners, has anyone got anything left in their back pocket? It doesn't quite look like it, because Birkin, a slight mistake, has dropped him back, and it held up Meyer as well. Paddock Bend for the final time. Anything from anyone to try and stop the pole sitter. Reece Gentry had an off yesterday, recovered to P5. This time, unless Matt Birkin gets the drive, which he may do, could be a drag race to the line. Who's it going to be? It will be Reece Gentry, who takes victory by less than a tenth of a second, at the timing being 72 thousandths of a second there. Fist bumps between the top 2. Respect shown between the competitors after a fierce 6-lap sprint race. It is Gentry from Birkin, from Meyer for your top 3, but Reece Gentry takes victory. That was fantastic racing the whole way through, and Reece Gentry, someone we're not normally used to seeing on the top step of the podium, takes the honours in race number 2.
Yeah, he came quite close over the course of 2024. 5 podiums to his name. 4 of them were second places, so he came very, very close indeed. Not quite enough. He didn't win the entirety of 2024, the fourth race of 2025, and he's hit the ground running and done it on the 5th. Very, very good stuff then from Reece Gentry. Really mature race there. And again, that defensive prowess, didn't lose his head when he got overtaken, just locked back in, found the groove, found the gap, and dealt with the pressure, not just from Matt Birkin in the end. David Meyer on the scene. Of course, we'll run you through the full results in a few moments' time. But the senior Mini Motos making their way back into the pit lane, and we'll see them back out later on. And, well, I can't wait.
Wow, an excellent, albeit shortened race there, but it is Reece Gentry who takes victory by the skin of his teeth in the timing sheets, but it was a hard-fought battle and well-deserved. Matt Birkin second, David Meyer rounds out the top 3 with a well-deserved podium. Keats and Payne was 4th with Mark Payne in P5. Lamar Morgan, a fantastic P6 for him, congratulations. Callum White unfortunately dropped down to 7th place with Andy Weed in P8, Gary Eldred 9th, and Harvey Jeremy in P10. Chris Yeomans was 11th. Unfortunately, we lost Rob Gentry, Peter Appleton and Steve Johns as we saw that incident that led to the red flag early on. Hopefully everybody is okay after that one. Of course, race 3 will be out a little bit later on for the senior Mini Motos, but that was a brilliant race. Yes, it was shortened, but it was fast and it was furious, and they really left everything out on the tarmac.
Yeah, they really did. Really looking forward to seeing these guys out later on. Of course, still plenty of racing left to go throughout the rest of the day, but the senior Mini Motos, they'll be back into the pit lane, reviewing, of course, where they can get a little bit better, where they potentially missed out, and they'll be back out later for race number 3.
It is time for race number 2 in the Britson Electrical Services AC40 Interclass, and so far this season, it has been about one young lass. Who else would it be but Nelly Nuth? The young superstar who exploded onto the Fab Racing scene last season has come up to the Inters and really made it her own so far. A brilliant win yesterday, but it was close. Finley Styles only 0.2 of a second away. Let's run through the grid. It's Nelly Nuth who starts on pole. Finley Styles alongside Noah Barfoot and Austin Dilks on row 2. Radley Carter's alongside Freddy Taylor in 5th and 6th, with Reed Saxelby and Seth James rounding out our 8-rider grid. Yes, not the biggest grid of riders, but a grid of riders that is very, very talented. Very, very young as well. Of course, this is the Interclass with the 12mm exhaust restriction on. Still very junior. Some of them as young as 7 years old. They're still going out there and showcasing what they can do.
Yeah, exactly. And similar to sort of the rookies, but ever so slightly less so than the pros, of course, using this as an opportunity to nurture their craft, to refine as much as they can. Of course, Nelly Nuth didn't really have much battling because as soon as she got into the lead, she was just gone. Absolute domination in the rookies, but a fantastic championship battle between herself and Emilio Pereira. In the end, it was only 7 points that separated them. Of course, final preparations being made. She once again lines herself up on pole position, and a star for the future, no less, from our House of Moto 2024 winner.
Absolutely, but a grid stock full of strong riders. It's not just the pole sitter we need to keep our eye on. Red lights go on. It is red lights out. We're underway for race number 2 in the Interclass. Nelly Nuth, great launch there. Finley Styles, a little bit disappointing. Has to defend from Barfoot down into turn number 1, but does maintain that P2 position as they slide their way down into second place. A great exit there from Finley Styles, already starting to close back up after that disappointing getaway at the light. Now making their way to the infield hairpin. No one really making any moves yet. All a little bit tentative, all just testing the waters, seeing how they feel, seeing where the race pace is. Maybe they want to settle into a rhythm before they start to attack.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is about that. You don't want to sort of give too much too soon, show too much too soon. Nelly Nuth under a little bit of pressure actually from the 19 Finley Styles, so she's going to be having to ever so slightly look over her shoulder, maybe just assess the race behind her. But of course they work their way through Paddock, hairpin and into the final couple of corners. The really important corner, that's slightly banked on the inside, so you can use that to assist your rotation, and then it's flat out through that long right-hander. Looking, of course, looming very, very large, trying to contest for the race lead. There you can see Finley Styles, but it's Nelly Nuth that breaks the beam in the lead, albeit under a lot of pressure, and a fight for third in the background as well.
Yeah, maybe some moves being made up the front. Nelly Nuth really pushing hard. Look at the lean angle, look at the tuck in the front of the bike, was chattering away through turn number 1. Don't think there's been a change for position in P3. Looks like Noah Barfoot still has that third place, and indeed he does. Austin Dilks pushing him very, very hard though. 8 laps left to run in this one. Nelly Nuth hasn't bolted away. It's not done and dusted just yet. Finley Styles is sticking with her and is making her work for it. So it'll be similar to race 1 perhaps, where it goes down to the wire, or maybe this time Styles is able to find a way through and take victory in race number 2. We'll have to wait and see. Top 4 are still grouped together. Maybe Nuth under that pressure from Styles. They're not fighting, but he is right there. Could be costing both of them a little bit of time, and as a result this could potentially be a 4-way battle for the lead if we're not careful. Nuth from Styles from Barfoot, your top 3. Austin Dilks just behind them. Current fastest lap of the race, Noah Barfoot at 55.049. Really, really quick on the previous tour. This could get really interesting as the race goes on.
Could do indeed. I don't think Finley Styles had the best final sector that previous lap, and that allowed Noah Barfoot and of course Austin Dilks to close in quite nicely, and it seems that the 36 has latched on to the rear of these two. He's now sort of focused and sort of almost tunnel visioned on being in contention with the top 2. Nelly Nuth though, unfazed. She's got such good composure at such a young age, of course competing in our highest achieving female race award, champion of it in 2024, going for it again in 2025, and what a 2024 campaign she had. 10 race victories from 21 races, looking to kickstart 2025 in similar fashion. Out of the final corner and towards the line to start the 6th to last lap. Finley Styles still there, but not quite able to put much pressure on just yet, just making himself known to Nelly Nuth.
Yeah, not quite pushing just yet. He's having a little look here and there, but I don't think he's really placing an attack just yet. Maybe just playing the patient game, watching and waiting, seeing what Nuth is doing, seeing where maybe he has a slight advantage out on the track. The 19 and the 44, the front, they're starting to edge away ever so slightly from Barfoot and Dilks behind them, but they are still still in tow. If anything happens to the front two, Barfoot, Dilks, they'll be right there to inherit the race lead and P2. It's going to be 5 laps left to go in the blink of an eye as they come round the hairpin down the bottom end of the racetrack before making their way down to Paddock End, where the crowds watch on, and the top 4 very much neck and neck still. It is still Nuth, still Styles, still Barfoot and still Dilks, your top 4. 5 laps left to go as they cross the line this time. No changes up the front of the pack, but it is tense action out there.
It is indeed. You've got to be careful as well. You can see they're breaking into 2 couples once again. Austin Dilks, he's got a bit of a dilemma at this stage of the race. Does he attack Noah Barfoot? He does indeed. He's having a big look to the inside of turn number 2 there. Not quite able to come to fruition on that occasion, but he's got to be careful. The more he fights with Barfoot for third, the more out of touch they're going to get between Nuth and Styles for the lead. And with such little time left to go in the race, they have to get a move on, but it doesn't quite seem, at least over the course of the last couple of laps, maybe Barfoot running out of steam ever so slightly. I don't think Dilks wants to really be sort of, not necessarily stuck behind him, but if he's got a chance to go for the lead, he needs to be in front of Barfoot to go for it.
Does he have the pace to get through, though? Of course, as I always say, it's one thing to catch or to follow a rider. It is another thing to overtake them, and that's maybe what Styles is struggling with a little bit as well. Just doesn't quite have enough to slide on by. We'll have to wait and see. Only 4 laps left to go as they cross the line this time. Nuth and Styles starting to break away even more as to the inside looks Austin Dilks, and up the inside goes Austin Dilks. Does he confirm the position on the corner exit? Barfoot does not get the up and under, and it will be into the podium places. The 85 machine of Austin Dilks with a lovely little move at turn 1. Can he now try and catch the leaders? That gap, it did build slightly, but it's not massive. There is an opportunity here for Barfoot to make more places.
Yeah, definitely so. It's not done just yet. Austin Dilks is then through. We've got to fight further back as well. I think this is between Saxby, Taylor and Carter a little bit further back. Also Seth James potentially involved at the back end. Indeed so. The 13 you can see just at the back end of shot. That's that 4-rider train. It's broken away. I think Saxby has been able to sort of get away from the bottom 3. They're keeping themselves nice and close. 4 laps left to go. It'll be 3 when they break the beam to start the next lap. Still very, very close at the front as well, but great to see that it's not just that lead contingent that are keeping each other honest. Outside line for Finley Styles.
Looks, doesn't quite get anything. Switchback also not quite working, just unable to come through. I'm loving the difference of riding styles between our front riders. Nelly Nuth really working on it over the winter, it would seem. She's got that Marquez-esque proper getting the shoulder down to the racetrack. Meanwhile, Styles a little more traditional, a little bit more upright in the corner, but both of them working supremely well. They're both neck and neck at the front of this race. Meanwhile, Dilks has been able to catch up to the back of Finley Styles as well. Set the fastest lap on the previous tour, 54.457, so running very, very quickly indeed. And Barfoot as well, now that he's following Dilks, also setting a personal best time, so both of them now starting to catch the leaders as well. It's going to be the penultimate lap of the race in just a moment, and this could get really interesting because now the likes of Styles, Dilks, Barfoot running out of time to make moves. I'm not saying they're going to get desperate, but they might start thinking about going on the attack a little bit more.
Yeah, if they're going to get desperate, it's going to be now that happens, and you're very, very right. It's not necessarily a bad thing to say. As a rider, you do definitely start to feel that desperation. You start to feel time slip away from you. You start to feel that win slipping away from you. Nelly Nuth, of course, telling us that this is not the best track for her. Of course, she didn't have the best results this time last year, especially the first visit to Ellough Park where it was wet and she really struggled. But it seems that over the winter and her further experience since, she's really been able to refine her craft and turn her weakness into one of their strengths.
Yeah, she's been running really, really well all weekend long and is potentially 1.5 laps away from making it 5 race wins out of 5 this season. Paddock Bend, through they go, no one able to make a move. Looks like Barfoot's dropped back a little bit from this lead pack, so it'll be 3 riders racing for the podium places, racing for the win. Here we go then, 1 to go as we come across the line. Styles looks to the inside, not late enough on the brakes, might compromise his corner exit as well. Don't think he'll come under attack from Dilks just behind into turn number 2. Nuth still holding on, but under huge pressure from Styles himself, under huge pressure from Austin Dilks. Styles this time goes to the outside as Nuth slightly defensive, but still Zach Sweeney, no one able to find a way through.
Yeah, Nelly Nuth just pitching the bike exactly where she needs to. Dilks unable to find a way through on Styles as well. So all 3 of them bulletproof, not making any mistakes, but it's just reaching that stalemate. Nuth is doing everything right. Just a couple corners left to go to take her 5th win of the season.
to Paddock Bend they come. Anything from anyone. Last chance saloon for the likes of Styles and Dilks as they come to the final real overtaking opportunity. Potentially a drag race as Nuth takes the lead, but Styles does run wide, gets onto the rumble strips. He's not going to be close enough. He does get close, but it's still not enough. Less than a tenth of a second and back to the line. But Nelly Nuth, 5 wins out of 5 in 2025 for the 44, withstanding huge pressure from behind. And once again, she is on top. It's Nelly Nuth who takes the win with a great ride, defending superbly. But further behind, there's action, changing positions at the line. Is that Freddy Taylor? A drag race coming through, and it is Reed Saxelby, in fact, who gets up to 5th place. I think they actually traded back once again as they got to the line. But it's Nelly Nuth who takes the win from Finley Stars, with Austin Dilks rounding out the podium. The 3 of them covered by less than half a second at the line. Noah Barfoot dropped back a little bit late in the race to hold on to P4. Reed Saxelby was 5th, with Freddie Taylor P6, Randy Carter 7th, and Seth James in P8. Really, really tense racing out there. Nelly Nuth holding on for the win once again. I mean, she's won 5 races out of 5 so far this season, but doesn't look unstoppable. Yes, that was a great ride from her, but the likes of Styles, the likes of Dilks, putting in fantastic performances there and really, really challenging her.
Yeah, you can almost, it's almost, I say hubris, she's 7, but it is almost that sense of hubris where you get comfortable winning. You're not indestructible. You're not always going to be able to be fighting always at the front. There are going to be times where you take that hit. Nelly has experienced that before, and of course we'll see the Inters back out for race 3 later on in the day.
The Premier Class in Fab Racing awaits us. Race number 2 for the Mini GP70s here at round 2 of the 2025 MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. A very, very interesting affair yesterday. Harrison Day looking really, really strong, going off a pole position, but a bizarre crash coming out of the final corner on lap number 3 left him down and out and meant that Frankie Watson could cruise on home to take the race win. But fantastic battles everywhere we looked yesterday. Should be interesting to see how it's going to unfold today. Hopefully with Harrison Day able to stay in the race as well. He's had a bit of a bizarre weekend. He's been quick, but mechanical issues and that bizarre crash in race number 1. Hopefully Lady Luck shining a little bit more upon him in race number 2 on Sunday. Getting ready to go out in a short moment's time. The riders just in the dummy grid. A small delay before they get going, but you can see them there waiting, just discussing with each other, wondering what's going on, wondering when they're getting ready. I think they may just be waiting for the roving marshals, parents, friends, members of the Fab Racing Paddock who go out there and provide extra assistance to the orange-clad trackside marshals as well. So a big, big thank you. So GP70s so far, well, Harrison Day sweeping round number 1 at Lid before Frankie Watson taking race 1 yesterday. But it is Day that starts on pole from Watson in P2, Pole Hill 3rd with Travis Shaw in P4, Taylor Tomlinson and Matthew Thomas on row 3 with Logan Cousins and Leon Solian 7th and 8th. Riley Paisley and Taylor Davis round out the top 10, and there is another 11th rider on the grid as well following them. So it should be really interesting to see how it's going to unfold, Zach Sweeney. Can Harrison Day take another race win, or is there going to be more bad luck falling his way?
Oh, we'll see. I mean, Harrison Day, he was a happy hunter this time a year ago where we had that wet weather after what was almost domination from Wilson Dilks thus far that season. Harrison Day stepped up and was the first rider other than Wilson to win a race in 2024. He's a quality rider across all the different classes that he's raced in. He is a very, very strong star for the future. But alongside him, Frankie Watson is no slouch at all, nor is Finley Polwell, nor is Travis Shaw making themselves up on the front 2 rows. Roger not entirely happy with the grid lineup as things stand, so maybe a slight delay before we can get going once again. But the top 4 fantastic riders, the entire grid, fantastic riders. We're in for a good race.
Yeah, Roger Keys wasn't very happy with someone there. I think it may have been Logan Cousins on the 7. We've been given strict instructions this weekend to the riders. You're not allowed to angle the bike on the grid box. It has to be pointing straight so you don't get an advantage over your opponent. It's all ready though. Let's go racing. Race number 2 in the 70s. Lights out and we're underway. Great start there from Finley Polhill on the number 99. Does he get into the lead into turn 1? No. Harrison Day just about holds on as Frankie Watson looks really really slow. Is there a problem for the 14? He's dropped 5, 6, maybe 7 places as they make their way into turn number 2. But Harrison Day just about holds on. Travis Shaw as well, also looking racy. Great start there, though, from Finley Polehill from 3rd.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Exactly what he needed to do from that second row of the grid. Really now able to launch some contention onto Harrison Day. Of course, both of them race winners in the 70s over 2024. Both of them championship contenders in 2025. Look for Travis Shaw as well on that number 4 machine. New livery being sported for 2025. Looks absolutely fantastic. He himself was able to take a few wins in the 50s over the course of 2024. Stepping up now to the 70s for 25, and again fighting towards the front. First lap in the books. It's Day from Polehill from Shaw.
Big pressure, though, for Dave Finley Polehill. This is his first round of 2025. Missed the opener at Lid a month ago, and he's come out of the gate swinging. Showed us what we missed last time round when we were down south, and putting on a huge display so far. Day a little bit defensive into the infield hairpin, but maybe didn't need to go for it. I don't think Polehill was lining up for attack at that moment. Top 3 inseparable right now. Day, Polehill, Shaw were covered by just 0.3 of a second at the line last time out. It'll be 10 laps at the line this time. Let's see how close they are when they come around Paddock Bend now. Shaw looks to the outside, maybe runs a little bit deep compared to Polehill and Day in front, but they all maintain positions. Meanwhile, Matthew Thomas has lost a position there to Taylor Tomlinson in P4, so Tomlinson on the 77 slides on by. Top 3 last time round, 0.5 of a second separated them. This is really, really close.
Yeah, it is indeed, and of course a really good start to the season for Taylor Tomlinson. Of course, back in 2023 was the rookie and pro champion, and now just 2 years later stepping it up to the premier class of Fab Racing and running towards the front. So a good fight there. It's a shame for Frankie Watson, whatever the issue was, or whatever it was at the start of the race that saw him tumble down. He's not quite been able to recover thus far. Still 10 laps left of this race to run, so still plenty of opportunities for him to recover, but thus far it seems that the front 3 of Day, Polehill and Shaw look the strongest. Of course, it's the first time today that we've seen the geared bikes take to the track. An extra dynamic, an extra thing to think about, an extra level of skill that these riders need to have.
Absolutely. Of course, these Grand Prix style Metrokit Mini GP 70s, the final step for junior riders on the Fab Racing ladder before you go on to things like the British Talent Cup. Of course, Fab Racing is the way to make your way to the British Talent Cup. Every year since 2019, the champion of that series has come from Fab Racing. Over 60% of the grid has come from Fab Racing. Oh my goodness me, that was tight between Polehill and Day. Polehill had to sit the bike up and it's cost him a bit of time. Now he's got to regroup and refocus. Doesn't quite lose out to Shaw. Shaw did have a look, just wasn't able to make his way through. As I was saying though, these are the riders that we're going to be seeing in the R&G British Talent Cup in a couple of years time before they go on to things like Grand Prix Racing, British Superbikes, World Superbikes, call it what you will. Fab Racing has the track record. We've had riders go to all of them. These are the stars of tomorrow that we are seeing today, and the best of the best in young British motorcycle racing. 8 laps left to go. Day from Polehill, from Shaw. They've split up a little bit as a result there. Frankie Watson now back up to 5th place, so maybe he is starting to recover, but still a very disappointing start for the 14 who went off a second on the grid, and it's a long race back to the podium places for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he's a bad rider by any shout. Of course, he qualified on the front row, won race 1 yesterday. It's just a shaky start, and again, with the level of competition that they've got in the 70s, you cannot afford to have even a lapse of judgment for a moment. A poor start, releasing the clutch a bit too quickly or even a bit too slowly, not building the revs up as much as he'd have liked, not getting into that rhythm as quickly as possible. A look to send the move to the inside of Paddock Bend, just had to sit the bike up ever so slightly, allowing, there you can see the dragon, Matthew Thomas, to close in. The 47 all over the rear end now of the 14 of Frankie Watson. Has to go defensive into turn number 1. That's going to stall his progress. I think that's part of the problem for Watson. He's got the pace to go and challenge, but he's not able to because he's constantly either having to look over his shoulder or chase someone down in front of him.
Yeah, really tough conditions for the riders out there. This race is getting testy. It's getting tense. And they're all pushing. Oh, is that a problem maybe for Tomlinson? Sat up really early out of the corner. And that lets Frankie Watson by on the 14. Maybe a small mistake. Maybe he was even letting him through. Knows that there was no point trying to battle him because it may have allowed Thomas through as well. So that could have been smart racing. Either way, it is Frankie Watson now back up into 4th place. And it will be Taylor Tomlinson dropping down to 5th on the 77. Still
facing huge pressure from Matthew Thomas just behind him. 6 laps left to go for these guys as they cross the line now. Bit of clear track for Frankie Watson. Is he able to catch up to the leading group? 3 seconds separates him from Travis Shaw. 1.2 seconds separates Shaw from Polehill. Polehill and Harrison Day are basically on top of each other. They're so close. So potentially we could be seeing Frankie Watson getting involved in a podium shout, but again, given he qualified seconds, we know the calibre of rider that he is. He really should be fighting for the race wing. It was a real disappointing start.
It really was, and not representative of who he is as a rider at all. As a championship contender in the 70s and in the 50s in 2024 for the rounds that he competed in, particularly in the 50s, doing the full season campaign, not exactly the way that he'd want a race to go at all. So he's going to be fighting further a little bit later on in the day, and maybe even still in race number 2 as well. 5 laps left to go as they break the beam, and there is the gap at the front. Virtually nothing between the 15, the orange machine of Harrison Day, and then just in behind the 99 of Finley Polehill. Travis Shaw just in behind. Did just notice though, we talk about him closing the gap. Frankie Watson, fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, great lap there. 47.648 from Watson. That is really, really quick, and not too far away from the lap record set by Marco Holt back in 2022. And the conditions then were perfect as well. Not quite perfect today. Very, very windy out there, so it is tough for the riders to deal with that one. Finley Polehill is basically clambering over the back of Harrison Day's bike. He's so close in the corners. 4 laps left to go when they cross the start-finish line this time. Still nothing separating the leaders. None of them giving each other an inch. None of them able to find a true advantage over each other. While they're fighting though, it is allowing Travis Shaw to close in ever so slightly. Gap's now back down to 0.9 of a second between himself and Finley Polehill in P2. So maybe this is going to invite him back into the conversation. Frankie Watson a further 2.2 behind. I think he might be running out of laps to get involved in this podium conversation.
Unless they start to battle, and I'm not going to say it's a likely thing, but don't count him out all the way until the checkered flag. He got off to a shaky start, but it's that thing. What could have been? What could he have done in this race had he got the better start? But you cannot live in racing with shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's the absolutes that you need, and with just 3 laps left to go when they cross the line, time is running out for Frankie Watson. Time is running out for Finley Polehill to go for the lead. He needs a good run out of that final corner. He's got one this time by, but not close enough to turn 1.
He might just need to send it. He might just need to close his eyes, go to the inside and see what happens, because right now, Harrison Day, there's just no way through him. And Polehill has been following him for some time now. He'll know, he'll understand where Day is quick, where maybe he's a little bit quicker than the number 15, but just cannot find a way through. We're seeing little looks, little teasers of an overtake here and there, but just cannot find the gap to force himself through. He needs to get the elbows out. He needs to get aggressive. There's the first proper look we've seen in a while from the number 99 to the inside, coming into the hairpin there, but it does cost him a little bit of time. He'll need to build that back up. About to head onto the penultimate tour in race number 2 here at Ellough Park for the Mini GP 70s, the Premier class here at Fab Racing, and it is still Day from Polehill. Gap's now up to 0.3 of a second, but Polehill still pushing, just needs to find that way through.
Yeah, it's just going to be an open door, and maybe this is going to be bad for Harrison Day because he's been faultless all race long, but there's only 1 lap you need to lead. That's the last lap. If Finley Polehill can just capitalise at some point, force Day into an error, force Day into some false sense of security, some complacency, then maybe the door could open. Frankie Watson could well still finish on the podium in a battle with Travis Shaw for P3. A lap and a half left to go. Could there be a look into the chicane? He's been looking all race long. Ascend there from Polehill, but futile as Day defends.
Yeah, that was the kind of thing that he needed to do, just not quite able to get it confirmed on that occasion, but a first real effort from Finley Polehill. As there we see the battle for 3rd place as well. Frankie Watson, as you said, could well be getting onto the podium. Final lap of the race. Can Harrison Day hold on, or will Polehill get his elbows out enough to force his way through? We'll have to wait and see. Gap's a little bit bigger than it has been as they come through turn 2. Now to the infield hairpin. Day still looks comfortable. Does go a little bit defensive. I don't think he needed to do that. The gap was big enough, and that's going to allow Polehill to close. And we've got traffic as well. Is this the opportunity maybe? No blue flags. You've got to work your way through on your own. They're both getting held up as they go into the bottom end of the racetrack. Polehill looks once again. They sit the traffic up somehow. Harrison Day holds on to the lead. Gonna have to be a miracle last minute moment for Finley Polehill. Can he find anything into the penultimate corner? Day defends expertly as they come through. It is redemption perhaps for Harrison Day. Drag race to the line. He will take race number 2 by less than 1/10 of a second after his crash in
race number 1, and that is well deserved. Finley Polehill threw everything at him, but just couldn't quite squeeze past. But yet another race here at Ellough Park on Sunday, finishing with the top 2 less than a tenth away from each other. Harrison Day takes race number 2 from pole, with Finley Polehill second, Travis Shaw holding on to third place, with Frankie Watson in P4. A recovery ride, a strong one, but he'll miss out on the podium. Taylor Tomlinson was 5th, with Matthew Thomas in P6, Logan Cousins 7th, Leo Soliu was 8th, Riley Paisley was 9th, and Taylor Davis rounding out our riders in P10. Harrison Day, what a ride. Not a defensive masterclass by any means. He didn't have to pull out many stops, but just placing his bike perfectly and running perfect lines and keeping his pace up and hitting his marks. It was more than enough to take that victory in race number 2. Finley Polehill, he'll be gutted with that one. He really rode a great race, but it just wasn't to be. Luckily, the Mini GP70s have another race coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. Their race number 3 still awaiting us. So it should be interesting to see how it's going to go for race number 3 in Fab Racing's Premier Class. The Mini GP70s, they'll be back out later afternoon. Race number 2 in the Pit Bike 140s, and this is going to be exciting. Of course, race number 1, a very, very interesting affair as they make their way to the grid. And it will be starting on pole position, Richard Holmes-Williams, Jamie King alongside Chris Wells and Ben Cottsgrove on row 2. Harrison Quincy 5th with Zach Tureen 6th. Joshua French 7th, Simon Gates 8th, Keats and Payne P9, and Ashley Power rounding out the top 10. Danny Knight's Rush is in P11 with Harry Barrell in P12. James Ratcliffe 13th with Nathan Gardner P14. Perry Thompson 15th, Daniel Gilbert 16th. Row 9 is Danny Cottsgrove and Robert Baldock with Dan French 19th. Adam Thornborough rounds out our top 20 with P21, Bradley Power, Lucas Kukowski P22, Zach Andrews 23rd, Monty Cotgrove P24, Robert Leverage starts P25. So a huge grid of 25 riders here. Should be very interesting to see how it's all going to unfold. A couple of them a little bit slow getting out to the grid from the holding area, but looks like we're all ready to go racing. A fascinating race one yesterday. Jamie King riding wounded after his big high side on Friday. Couldn't catch Richard Holmes-Williams.
Eyes to the lights then for race number 2 of the Pit Bike 140s, and an issue there for P11. A jump start. Jamie King gets the launch, but it's going to be Richard Holmes-Williams that gets the launch that he needs to hold pole position. Chris Wells trying to get involved there on the 62 machine. A big grid of pick bikes. Worked their way through turns 1, now into turn 2. Jamie King leads from Richard Holmes-Williams in second place through the long sweeping section of turn number 2. Is there a counter-attack on? The home hero leads in Ellough Park, but a counter-attack straight away to the hairpin.
Oh, cast your minds back to last season. Holmes-Williams and King already pulling out another classic, as Chris Wells, who had bike issues yesterday, it turns out that's why he wasn't running well, seems to have got those gremlins sorted. He's holding on to third place at the moment as they bomb their way down to the bottom end of the racetrack. It is still Holmes-Williams that leads from King in P2. Ben Cotgrove giving it a bit of a go on Chris Wells. King really, really wide as they come to the end of the opening lap of the race. Jamie King desperate to win at his home track, hasn't been able to do it for quite some time, and Richard Holmes-Williams from up the road, a local rival from Ipswich, the tractor boy as they call him, holds on to the lead coming out of turn number 1 on lap 2.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Jamie King just at the moment hasn't got the pace to contend with Richard Holmes-Williams as things stand, and he's got to be careful not to fall back to Chris Wells on the 62 there. You can see a couple of moves being made as well. That's the 52 of Ben Cotgrove, under pressure from Joshua French, but also trying to put some pressure onto Harrison Quincy just in front as well. Through the sweeping section once more, seems that Wells is closing in onto Jamie King, and that's going to be the last thing that King wants. He cannot be looking over his shoulder when a race winner's in sight.
I think Jamie King knew his best opportunity in this race was to get in front of Holmes-Williams at the start and just try and control the pace, because Holmes-Williams once again is starting to extend that gap. A couple of the riders further back still fighting for positions. We see the likes there of Joshua French and Keaton Payne battling. There's the 116. Oh, and the number 12, Joshua French and Keaton Payne, as I just mentioned, getting argy-bargy down into turn 1. Bit of hand signalling. Not impressed there was Keaton Payne, but they're going to push on anyways. Payne slides on by. Does French try and go on the attack? That is the 52 there that we see of Ben Cotgrove, should I say, Joshua French, not Keaton Payne. He's just behind, but he's about to get involved if they continue fighting.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to be the thing. Momentum is paramount around Ellough Park, especially with so many acceleration zones and fast sweeping corners. If you get caught up in a battle, the rider behind is going to be all over your tail. Now looking into the paddock hairpin, are there going to be any changes? Not on this particular occasion, but Joshua French, like I say, looming large. That double hairpin, you go into a right hairpin, straight into a left-hand hairpin. So as you open up the penultimate corner, the inside really opens up, and we're going to see a couple of riders maybe tempted by that centre to the inside, but it's not like Ellough Park is lacking overtaking opportunities.
No, always opportunities to make a move here in Suffolk. It is a rider's paradise out there on this racetrack. Looking to the inside goes French once again, cannot quite find his way through Cotsgrove on the 52, and Keats and Payne now starting to drop back. Richard Holmes-Williams, meanwhile, up the front of the race, 1.2 seconds ahead of Jamie King. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one at the infield hairpin. Who's that's gone down? Hopefully everyone is A-OK, as I think he's just staying down to make sure everyone slides on by, but of course yellow flags will be out. But yeah, that was a big one going down there, and hopefully everyone's all right. Yeah, getting up on his feet, looks to be getting the bike up as well. But yeah, that's a big crash. 7 laps left to go in the first DNF in this race by the looks of things. Yeah,
not what you want to see at all. It looks to be the number 2. That could be Danny Cotgrove. Of course, we'll confirm as to who doesn't break the beam, essentially. With 7 laps left to go, changes there. That's Joshua French on the inside of Ben Cotgrove. This is the fight for 5th place, so still quite important points in what is a very, very big field. Yellow flags through this section of racetrack, though, so no counter-attack available for Cotgrove.
Absolutely, of course, no yellow flags. You have to hold position. There is an incident, there is caution. You have to be careful for safety concerns, and that just means that a prime overtaking opportunity down at the infield hairpin. You can run it outside and get the switchback. You can stick it up the inside with a huge dive bomb, but unfortunately at the moment unavailable. There is race leader once again. Richard Holmes-Williams has booked his ticket and is checking out. 6 laps left to go. He's got 1.5 seconds to the good ahead of Jamie King. I think Jamie King and Chris Wells may have had a bit of an incident, maybe a coming together or a shoving out wide or something, because Chris Wells on the previous tour was less than a tenth of a second away from King across the line. Now the gap 1.6 seconds, and he's under huge pressure from Harrison Quincy behind in that battle for the podium places. So something going on there perhaps, or maybe Chris Wells, those reliability, those mechanical gremlins that were hurting him in race number 1 coming back to haunt him. We'll have to wait and see, but right now the tractor boy, the Ipswich native Richard Holmes-Williams up the top of the table and doing a fine job, looking to try and take 2 wins out of 2 so far this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. He's been on fire trying to rob Jamie King of that home heroism that he lacked over the course of 2024. Lost out to Lucas Brown the first time we came here, opened up the door on multiple occasions to allow, of course, the now Red Bull Rookies rider through, and that was the last thing that he wanted. And of course then we came later on in the season, he was unable to win there. Of course, sealed the PB140 championship for his 4th title in Fab Racing, but he wants to come here, he wants that redemption. He comes here week on week in order to sort of hone his craft and get some experience. He's been over in Aston recently as well, racing bikes. He does test riding for Snetterton. He's a very experienced rider, very, very good rider. All he needs is to taste that sweet, sweet taste of home victory.
Absolutely. What a great race weekend that was between King and Lucas Brown. Both of them doing huge battles, of course. Best of luck this weekend to Lucas Brown, as well as Sullivan Mounsey and Evan Belford as they start going at Junior GP at Jerez. Ethan Sparks as well, who'll be going round there in the European Talent Cup. So best of luck to all of our Fab graduates who've gone on to international competition. Yellow flags waving down into turn number 2. I don't know. Oh, that's big as well. Another couple of riders having problems, and that'll be why the yellow flags are out. Hopefully everyone's okay. That's the 152 that's gone down there. Bradley Powell, he was racing really close with Monty Cotgrove. I believe that is the other rider who's gone down as well. 4 laps left to go. Hopefully everybody is okay, but the yellow flag still waving, and in fact we now do have a red flag with 4 laps left to go. That is our second red flag of the day, with 4 laps left to run in the pit bike 140s. Hopefully everyone okay. We believe it's Monty Cotgrove that we're seeing there, who's struggling to get back up to his feet. We'll have to let you know that he is okay as soon as we are aware. But a real fascinating race there in the pit bike 140s, brought to a halt once again. Richard Holmes-Williams looking pretty untouchable up the front.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just seems that Jamie King didn't have the measure. I mean, the initial getaway, the first phase of the start wasn't quite enough for Jamie King, but it just seems that he had a second wind going into turn number 1. The exit, of course, on that run towards turn number 2, he was then able to capitalise and get the lead momentarily. But after that, Richard Holmes-Williams was able to extend the gap. It then became a bit of a stalemate between the pair of them. They were running sort of 50.6s on average over the course of the race, so the gap wasn't extending, but it definitely wasn't closing in the favour of Jamie King. So it's going to be, if this race does get restarted, of course, with just 4 laps to go, it could be possible that we just call it as it is. But if it does get restarted, then Jamie King, starting once again alongside Richard Holmes-Williams, will want to reignite that fantastic battle that we saw at the beginning of the race. We also, of course, further down, I say further down, it's the fight for P5 on a 25 bike grid, so still towards the sharp end. Joshua French versus Ben Cotgrove, the pair of them doing battle, and definitely igniting some sparks between the pair of them, but close to the limit, but not a millimetre over it. Speaking of Joshua French, only took part in 1 round over the course of 2024. The 2 races that we were able to run at Lids before the red flag delay saw an early end to Sunday, and it was 2 4th place finishes, so he's going to be looking to replicate some of that top 5 success here at Ellough Park, and was looking good to do so as well. Hello and welcome. Of course, anyone that's now just joining us, you're joining us during a red flag delay for the second race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140 class. We saw some electric battles between the majority of the field before a slight incident bringing out the red flag. We'll, of course, confirm that all riders are okay as soon as possible. But let us know who you're supporting, where you're watching from, and what class you're most looking forward to, and also your predictions for the season ahead. Of course, we're on round 2 of 2025, round 2 of 7. Of course, ticked off Lid. We're here at Ellough Park in Suffolk right now. We go to Hooton Park in a few weeks' time, then to Clay Pigeon down in Dorset, then to Rowra, 3 Sisters for the double header round for round 6 and 7 to round off the season in 2025. That is going to be at the end of the Pit Bike 140 race. They're going to call it at the red flag. It's Richard Holmes-Williams that tips Jamie King to victory. They're Chris Wells and Harrison Quincy. Joshua French from Ben Cotgrove round off the top 5 and 6. From Keats and Payne, Zach Toreen, Danny Knight's Rush, and James Ratcliffe, your top 10. That was a pretty good race up until, of course, the red flag. It's a shame that we don't get it restarted, but with such little time left to go, it would be almost pointless. Of course, the Pit Bike 140 is going to be the end of the morning, but looking forward to the rest of the racing this afternoon.
Absolutely. A real shame that that's how the racing action was brought to an end there, but of course, safety is paramount, and when there are incidents, we need to make sure that everybody is A-OK. So that is our second red flag of the day, and that brings an end to the Pit Bike 140s. And interesting you mentioned, Zach, I just want to briefly, before we head off onto our lunch break, which will be coming up shortly, you mentioned the double header at the end of the season. It's technically not a double header, is it? Because there is a month separating the rounds, even though they're both at 3 Sisters. That could be fascinating. Going into October compared to September, the weather, the temperature's going to drop massively, higher chance of rain as well. The conditions are going to be so different. It's going to be like it's a completely different circuit.
Oh, exactly. I mean, September is no summer meadow either, but yeah, especially when you're obviously up there in Wigan, not north, but definitely up there in terms of the UK. And yeah, definitely as you sort of get into September, then October, the clouds start to draw over. I mean, England generally is a bit miserable, but we're definitely going to see that up in Wigan. We're going to be enjoying some pies as well, I'm sure, while we're up north. But it's going to be a fantastic finale. I mean, 3 Sisters over the course of 2024 was fantastic, and I'm sure it's going to be no different. So nice to see that we get 2 rounds there. A shame if you live down south, though. You have to make the trip up, down, 2 weeks ago, and then you have to go back up again. But it's worth the effort for something you enjoy.
It absolutely is. So we are now going to head over into our lunch break. So we're going to go to some of the riders who we spoke to yesterday morning. So let's head down to the paddock while everyone takes a break from the on-track action and hear what the riders had to say yesterday morning.
This weekend in the Moto team, we have got a friendly competition happening between the South African team and the English team. Joining me now is Malcolm to tell me a little bit more.
Well, I wouldn't call it friendly. It's the Briar Ashes, which is a barbecue for the British people. And it's an inter-competition. It doesn't affect the points whatsoever of the actual championship. But we've chosen this venue because we could get enough South Africans here to compete against we call it the British guys, but it's so we call it the Briar Ashes. It's got that little trophy over there. And so it's the top 4 riders, or the top 4 scoring riders for South Africa, and 1 international rider, and then the same thing for the British team. And it'll be over the 3 races. We accumulate the points, and the one that gets the most points win. Looking forward to watching it over the weekend. Great.
Joining us now is the number 11, Oscar McAllister. Oscar, great to see you once again as we're heading into the second round of the season. How's things feeling heading into Ellough Park?
It's feeling amazing.
Confidence, I see. No words needed, just going in cool, calm and collected. Is that the aim for the weekend? Just keep confident?
Yeah, just try and keep confidence, build up it and try and get faster each session.
Talk to us a little bit about the track. It's quite tough round here. It's been known to catch riders out before, but I think it's a circuit that everyone really, really enjoys. Is it one that you're a fan of?
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's a good track and just a couple hard chicanes and corners. But by the end of the weekend, I'm just hoping to master it.
Of course, you mentioned a couple of hard chicanes. You've got that really slow section coming into the top and that hairpin chicane awkward bit. But on the flip side, it's a great opportunity to make some last-minute moves, make some dive bombs. We're going to be seeing you make any of those?
Yeah, I've already made a couple, but I'm hoping if I can do that in the race and get further where I qualified, that would make me really happy.
Well, let's wait and see. Thanks so much for talking to us, Oscar.
Thank you. Bye.
Now joining us is one of our Metch Kit Mini GP50 art riders, Josh Perkins, joining us. Great to have you here with us once again at Ellough Park. Getting the action shot, getting everything unloaded out the back of the van as we're heading into the weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good. I got a good position in practice, and that's actually with the 50Rs as well in there, so I'm feeling quite good.
That is great to hear. Ellough Park, a track you're clearly enjoying then so far?
Yeah, I enjoy Ellough Park. My favourite track so far is Three Sisters, because it's a fast track and it flows really good.
I mean, I think everyone loves Three Sisters, especially me, because it's about half an hour from my house, which is quite nice. Interestingly enough, obviously, Ellough Park, last year we came here twice, so a lot of riders here, lots of experience behind the handlebars. You know, they were just going round and round and round. Again, it's a local track, a home track to a lot of the riders as well. Is that something you think has an effect on the racing?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't here last year for the last Ellough Park because I broke my collarbone at Rowra on the Mini Motos, so I really couldn't get enough practice into the Mini GP50s.
But still, you're coming here in 2025 and seem quite confident, so you haven't lost out too much.
Well, it's a fast bike, especially the 50R. On the 50R, it pulls away on the straights much faster.
And what is the difference between the 50 and the 50R for anyone at home who maybe doesn't know?
I'm not quite sure, to be fair. That's my dad back.
Well, I can tell you're allowed a bigger carb on it. That's all I know, and it's also open to a Varley's.
Yeah, I know it's got a bigger carb, but I don't know what else affects it, to be fair.
I think that's about it. Well, Josh, thank you very much for talking to us. We'll see you out on track this weekend.
Bye.
Harrison Quincy's joining me now in the Pit Bike 140 series. How are you feeling this weekend, Harrison?
A lot of excited. Hopefully I do well, but yeah.
And we are at Ellough Park. Is this a track you think favours you, or do you think you might struggle a little bit here?
It is one of my favourites, and I'm doing quite well so far. Just hoping to keep doing well.
How's it felt so far in practice and qualifying? Do you feel like you're getting the most out of the bike?
Yeah, bike's feeling good. I'm getting up there at the minute, so just try and keep it.
And how are you feeling after last weekend at Lid?
Last week, yeah, it was really good. Good weekend, yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck this weekend. Henry, going into this weekend at Ellough Park, how are we feeling after Lid?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite well. We went to Lid just expecting to watch, and someone called Ellough Moto actually, reached out to me, said, "Do you want to ride the bike?" I was like, why not? I didn't have any leathers, and then Charlie Nesbitt said, "I've got some leathers here, I got some boots." So I ended up putting together all people's gloves and boots and that. I ended up riding. I can't remember where I finished. I just went out and rode, really, if I'm being honest with you. But here, I'm doing quite well. Went out Friday. I haven't rid these type of bikes since November, because last year I raced them fully, and then this year I haven't raced them at all since up to now. But yeah, it's going quite well. Wilson is about a second quicker than anyone. My teammate is really fast, but hopefully I can try and give it to him in the race.
And how are you finding the bikes feeling for you yourself? Like, are you feeling you're getting back into the groove of things after having a break since November?
Yeah. So the first time we come here, obviously, I felt massive on the bike. You know, I've been riding bigger bikes, but I got on this, I felt huge. There was a few things wrong with it. We had to tweak the suspension and stuff like that, but we've got the setup now and we feel quite good, yeah.
And what are you hoping to gain out of this weekend? Where are you hoping to place?
Obviously, everyone wants to get first. I think I can get first, but I'm just coming here for a bit of fun, have a laugh. But hopefully I can win, yeah.
Brilliant. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Kickstarting his 2025 campaign a little bit later than most, Max Johnson joins us for his first round of the 2025 MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. Great to have you back with us, Max, and great to see you moving up and onto the Metro kits now as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, it's Saturday, it's qualifying time. It's nice to see someone in some nice faces again and ready for this weekend, yeah.
That is great to hear, and as you said, qualifying time coming up. How are you feeling on the bike?
Well, maybe for a top 10, because it's my first qualifying of the Fab Racing season, so let's just have fun, really, yeah.
And as you said, obviously, you missed out the first round, unfortunately. Those things do happen. Do you think that's going to be a massive disadvantage, or is it just going to be something you're dealing with? You've already said off camera that this year is just going to be a year of having fun and a learning year on the bike, so you're not too fussy if you're maybe a little bit behind compared to everyone else?
Well, this year I'm just aiming to enjoy it, have fun, learn lots of stuff, because, you know, there's so much to learn, such as your clutch, your gears, so much to learn on the Metro kit, and just have fun, and that's all racing's about, really.
I mean, if you're not having fun, what's the point of turning up? And we know you do like to have your fun. So what is the plan for this week? And then just get a consistent top 10, get in the top 10 of qualifying as well. And as you said, have some fun.
Yeah, have fun, just enjoy it, and just improve every session, just getting that top 10, getting the fighting mix, really.
Well, we hope it's as fun for us to watch as it is for you out on track. Thanks for talking to us. We'll catch you later.
Thank you. And for this year, my friend Owen Jenner sadly passed away, so no matter what I do, I'm going to make him proud this year. Thank you.
The 71 of Bradley Curtis. A little bit of a drama before we get ready to go out today. You can see there your chief mechanic, so to speak, in the background, also known as your dad, ripping your gearbox to shreds currently. What's going on there?
Yeah, just the gears aren't engaging and that. It's like just not really working for us. So there's our 50 bike. Hopefully we can get out on that. We're just going to swap the carbs over from the 50 out of the 50. So we can get out on both. So, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed everything gets sorted and everything runs smoothly this weekend. More importantly, though, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit nervous because I've not got as much points as some people, because obviously I only finished 1 of 6, so I've not got that much points, but I'm feeling good and happy, so I'm just going to try my best and go out.
I like that champion's mindset. You're already thinking about points and we're only 1 round down, so you're lining yourself up to be launching a title charge later in the season.
Yeah, I'm just going to try my best. If I don't get top 3, I don't get top 3, but I'm obviously going to try to get top 3, so yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Ellough Park heading into this weekend, of course. Last time out, maybe not the most fun you've ever had, but this time, are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good because it's like my favourite track, but it's changed a bit. Like, they've put some more tarmac in, like it's not as bumpy, but then the patches that they've put in is a bit bumpier. But I'm good on the brakes and some corners, so I'm just going to try and do that. So, yeah.
It's just kind of dazzle everyone with your amazing pace and amazing braking skills and win all the races and go home a happy boy. Is that the plan?
I try my best. I just want to have fun, so, yeah.
That's the main thing. Thanks very much for talking to us, Brad.
Thanks. Bye.
Metal filings or something on the inside which is causing it to lock up, so just split it, have a good look at it and see what's going on, try and get it back together. I don't think it'll make qualifier on this bike, but certainly try and get them out for race 1.
Seth Bomber Haywood on the number 15, looking forward to the second round of the 2025 season here at Fab Racing. Seth, how's things?
Good so far. It's just my year back from my leg injury last year, but I'm getting back into it so far.
That's great to hear. And let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, I know it's quite hard coming back from injury and, long road to recovery. First of all, it is, great to see you back. I don't think we quite spoke to you last time out, unfortunately, but how's things going with the leg? All feeling okay?
It's feeling okay. I've still got metal rods in it. I'm keep going. Nothing stops me, though.
That is great to hear. And one last question on it quickly. Do you think it does affect you on the bike a little bit, or is it something that you've got over?
No, it clicks a bit, but it doesn't really do it. It doesn't hurt.
That is great to hear. Coming into the second round then of the season, Ellough Park, track you enjoy?
So track that I really enjoy. The first track I don't really like.
Oh, no love lost there then for the Lid kart racing circuit, but Ellough Park, clearly a firm favourite, not just you for the Paddock as well. What's the plan then this weekend? Of course, I'm expecting sweep the weekend, win every race, etc.
Top 10, top 5, and do as best as I can.
Brilliant stuff. And then looking forward across the rest of the season as well, is it just about getting those consistent points finishes?
This year, I want to be in the top 5 or top 10 this year in the championship, and I'm hoping to be in top 5, hopefully.
Well, hopefully you can achieve that goal. Thanks for talking to us, Seth.
Bye.
Now speaking to, bizarrely enough, another rider who had a leg injury last year. Seemingly everyone at the moment struggling with those ones. Riley Paisley, great to have you back with us. Second overall last time out at Lid, so strong start to the season. How are you feeling moving on to round number 2?
Yeah, quite confident as I'm doing both bikes this round, so more track time and then hopefully more podiums this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about that. Both bikes you mentioned, obviously we're quite used to seeing you on the Metro kits and all that, but what's the deal? What's happening this weekend with both bikes?
Lid, it got a bit too much for me doing the 50s and then straight out on the 70 after, but now I've got a gap between them so I can do both.
So a little bit of time to rest and relaxing, at the same time get more track time as well to help you improve and get quicker. That is great to see. How are you finding things out there in Ellough Park? How are both of the bikes feeling?
Both bikes are good. Yesterday I struggled a bit for pace, but hopefully today I'll be on it.
Well, fingers crossed, we'll have to wait and see. Again, as we said earlier, really strong opening round at Lid. You were second overall at the end of the weekend. Are you looking to just continue that consistency? Of course, you'll be aiming for race win, obviously, but just looking to keep consistent and keep moving forward?
Yeah, just 3 podiums this weekend and I'll be happy.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for talking to us, Riley.
Thank you.
Jensen Brown back with us for another weekend of racing. You got second at Lid, the first round of the season. How are you feeling?
Good.
Are you excited coming into Ellough this weekend?
Yeah.
You've just been out on the track for your practice. How were you feeling after practice?
Good.
Excited for racing this weekend?
Yeah.
Are you hoping to get second or higher again?
Higher.
Higher, you want to be first, yeah? Good luck this weekend, mate.
Thank you.
Jensen back with us here at Ellough Park for round 2 of Fab Racing. How are you feeling this weekend?
Good.
And how are you feeling after Lid?
Not too well.
Why? What happened?
Because I fell off 2 times.
Oh. You all right now, though? All recovered? All ready to go this weekend?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being at Ellough? It's quite a twisty track. Talk me through it. How do you think it's going to go this weekend?
Good. I don't know, but...
Do you think it's a circuit you're going to do well at?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's like a twisty track and I'm good at them.
So you find it better in the turns than on the straights?
Yeah.
And where are you hoping to place this weekend?
First.
Good luck, have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nelly Newth back with us again here at Fab Racing. A brilliant weekend for you at the first round in Lid. How are you feeling?
Amazing.
Was it good winning last round?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being here at Ellough Park?
Good.
How do you find the track's been for you? Because it's quite a twisty track. Are you finding it suiting you okay?
Kind of.
You've been out for practice yet?
Yeah.
How did you feel it was in practice? Did you find it was going okay?
Yeah.
And how are you hoping to do this weekend?
Good.
Wanting to win?
Yeah.
And what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Winning.
Got a winner's attitude. Good on you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Jamie King, at your home circuit this weekend here at Ellough Park, how are you feeling this weekend?
You're probably going to come onto it in a bit, but not feeling too great today. We had a little off yesterday, or quite a big off. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get through today, but it's going to be a bit difficult, I think. But we'll grin and bear it and see how we get on. But I went quicker yesterday than I've ever gone around here, and I do come here on the regular. So, fingers crossed, we can get back up to speed today.
How are you feeling after you crashed? Feeling a little bit sore, a little bit stiff?
Yeah, a little bit sore, definitely. I landed on my back quite nasty. I didn't even think it was possible to high-side a pit bike that bad. They're not the quickest things in the world. And, yeah, I came down pretty heavy on my back. I'm quite used to having big crashes here at Ellough. I do normally push the limit a bit too much. And, yeah, unfortunately, I did it again yesterday. But I'm going to go out there, grit my teeth, and we'll be trying to fight for the front as usual.
And this weekend in the Extreme E, you were partnered with Ellough Moto. How are you feeling working with them this weekend?
Yeah, mega. Total different style of bike. I've never ridden a GP mini bike before. And, yeah, really looking forward to it. This bike is brand new. It's never turned a wheel, and it's the first time for me and Chris have rid it. So it is all about just getting the bike set up, and we're not going to be looking for results or anything like that. It's just purely trying to get the bike set up, and hopefully we can move closer to the front in the future. But in the extreme class, there's some extremely fast people in it, so you're probably not going to see us at the front this weekend, but hopefully we can work our way up to the front in the future with some better parts on the bike and that.
Yeah, you had a good weekend at the first round at Lid Circuit a couple of weeks ago. How were you feeling after that, coming into this weekend?
Yeah, especially after that last race at Lid with Chris, getting Chris on the last corner to take the win. I think I've watched that clip about 1 million times from you guys, so yeah, it was really good. Yesterday in the times before the incident, between me, Richard Holmes-Williams and Chris, there was nothing in it again. It was so close, so if I can go with them guys with how sore I'm feeling, then I think it's going to be some close racing again.
Well, good luck this weekend, Jamie, and hope you recover okay.
Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.
Cooper, I've heard you've just placed first in qualifying for the rookies. How are you feeling?
Good, but just my first time coming first in the rookies. So I'm feeling quite good and excited.
And we are here at Ellough Park. How are you finding the track is suiting you? Is it a good one, or are you struggling a little bit, finding it really well?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's so much fun, and luckily it's a nice day out, so yeah.
Hoping the weather stays this weekend then, so you can keep going and hopefully win some races this weekend?
Yes. Yeah, I hope it stays sunny.
And what is it you like about Ellough Park, the track, so much?
I'd probably say, like, just that it's loads of straights and got fun corners, and just you can get a lot of top speeds on the track, which is my favourite, so yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck this weekend, mate. Have fun, and well done for getting first in qualifying.
Thank you. You too.
Some more mechanical issues across the paddock already this weekend. One of those involved, unfortunately, is Harrison Day, but sounds like you've got it all fixed now, fingers crossed. So apart from that, everything good?
Yeah, so yesterday went pretty well. It was quite busy in the practice, and I matched my time from last year, and last year I qualified pole, so it was pretty good.
So already feeling confident on the bike then, clearly. You going for pole again, I'm assuming?
We're going to try, so we've got qualifying soon, so hopefully we don't have what happened yesterday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully everything runs okay for the rest of the weekend. Second round of the season, so, I mean, it already feels weird to say that we're already technically quite a bit of the way through. It's only a short year, but, you know, we're already at the middle of the year as well. It's almost July we're heading into now, or June, should I say. You know, getting warmer, is that going to affect you out on track?